Carlisle's finances were precarious with a capital P that season, leading to a scenario where, with 3 games to go, they had to ask the FA to sanction an emergency loan deal to bring in a goalkeeper. Swindon Town's Jimmy Glass arrived at the club. His efforts in his first 2 games earned the Cumbrians 2 draws. Those vital points meant that Carlisle went into their final game of the Division 3 season, now League 2, needing to beat mid-table Plymouth Argyle in front of their own fans and hope their relegation rival Scarborough didn't win against Peterborough at home. The game at the McCain Stadium finished 1-1, and with the same scoreline at Brunton Park deep into injury time, Scarborough's fans invaded the pitch en masse, believing their Football League status was secure, convinced they'd done enough to stay up. However, there'd be one more plot twist. Carlisle won a corner in the dying seconds, and up came Jimmy Glass. In one of those you couldn't make it up moments, Glass scored from a rebounded header and was promptly swamped by teammates and thousands of fans who quite simply couldn't believe what they'd just witnessed. As for Jimmy Glass, he became an overnight celebrity, but he never played for Carlisle again, and his playing career never really kicked on after that defining moment. He took on various jobs outside of football before finding his way back into the sport as player liaison officer at Eddie Howe's Bournemouth, and most recently the general manager at non-league Wimborne. Not the fairy tale ending to one of the most Hollywood moments in football, but the name Jimmy Glass will live on forever as the scorer of that goal, arguably the most important in any club's history.
Good afternoon, you're listening to Hawksbee and Jacobs on talkSPORT. Max in for Paul today alongside me, the broadcasting legend Andy Jacob. What's coming up, Andy? I haven't actually written the intro yet, so I'm halfway to it. So if you could just repeat after me, Andy. Well, Max, Danny Kelly's here for an hour or so that's nice. Do you want to say that?
Danny Kelly's here for an hour or so that's nice.
Alan Stubbs will tell us about the first game at Everton's new stadium.
Exactly that.
And Rupert Bell will come on to congratulate Tommy Fleetwood's first PGA Tour win.
Very pleased for him.
Also, author Anthony
Tommy
Quinn
Days.
has written a book about Kevin Keegan. Alan Biggs will do some Sheffield stuff. Ben Jacobs is here to do the transfer tittle-tattle. And we have an author, a Dutch author, on Arne Slot, who's written a book, and he must have been delighted when Arne Slot turned up to Liverpool. Thought I can re-release this one, so we'll chat to him. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Andy. My apologies for... I sat around for half an hour doing absolutely nothing. My one job is to write an intro, and I didn't do it. My apologies to the talkSPORT audience. I'm sorry I've let my family down, my children down, I've let talkSPORT down, I've let the producers down, I've let the boss down, but it's a bank holiday, so there's no chance he's listening to this. In fact, I would say the most senior member of management listening is probably the receptionist at the bottom of the Shard. So we're okay, Andy. We can do what we like for 3 hours. How are you?
Well, I must apologise too, because Max bumped into me on the way into the studio. It's put me right off.
Very good.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're saying
that.
You could, and that's why you walked straight into the door. And all your notes are hopeless, aren't they? It was quite a fun bit, wasn't it? It was also fun to hear Chris Kavanagh's voice, as all the referees sound identical. And I am, at the end of the season, going to do a big, like a blind taste test where I play the voices of the referees and you have to guess which referee is going. Is that Peter Bank? Is that another generic bald northern man?
Yes, but in the West Ham-Chelsea game, there was when the West Ham... Which goal? No, where was it? No, it wasn't in that game. There was a game where the referee... we'll come to it when we go game by game. The ref forgot to do it.
Oh, did he?
There was a controversial moment, and the ref didn't do the clarification.
It's his moment. But Chris Kavanagh said, it was a penalty. They all talk like this. It was a penalty. Foul by the Fulham player on the Manchester player. He didn't say Manchester United. He just said the Manchester player. I was like,
I think he did say number 3.
Number 3.
You think you'd know the players' names by now, wouldn't you, really?
Anyway.
I mean, while he's looking at number 3, you can look at the name on the back.
I thought it was I didn't like the decision. I'm not saying it was the wrong decision because the laws of football, they aren't what they used to be when I was a lad.
It's not right, is it?
You know, and I'm older than Max Dowman. Did you know that?
Oh, you are.
Did you?
Most people are.
Most people are older. 2009 he was born.
He's ridiculous, isn't he? He doesn't even look 15. I just imagine him because he's still at school. Imagine if he plays in a school game. I mean, they'd probably win about 40-0, wouldn't they?
People were saying you're a fraud, Dowman. What's he bad at? You know,
He probably can't play.
He's bad at French.
He probably can't play in school football now, can he?
Do you think Arteta would be a bit annoyed?
Also, I think he's professional. I think
he's a professional footballer around it. All the clues are there, aren't they?
I think they are.
There he is.
And of course, with lots of transfer speculation everywhere. And Fabrizio Romano, he's on top of everything.
Oh, he is. Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
ITV's Kevin Ligo is trying to sign Michael McIntyre from the BBC.
Is that right?
Yeah, tremendous.
What is the
loan with an obligation to buy?
What's McIntyre? Could he trigger McIntyre's release clause?
Apparently, McIntyre's not interested.
Is that right? But that's what they all say.
Because but he's not interested because Michael doesn't need the money.
No.
And why should he leave? Those shows are brilliant and the ratings are great. And he thinks if he moves to ITV, the ratings will go down.
The next time he does a good gag on what show does he currently do?
Well, there's The Wheel, and then there's Michael McIntyre's
Road Show. Is it
Saturday Night Out?
Okay.
Night Out or something like
well, what he should do, he should kiss the badge when he does the next gag, shouldn't he? So BBC Till I Die.
That's probably good.
I, for one, think they should cancel the licence fee, and you can hear me on Talk Radio weekday afternoons from 4.
We did notice a very odd shorts-related.
Yeah, we
oddity.
did. Yeah, it was good.
Fulham, for some reason, changed their shorts and played in all white and looked like Real Madrid.
They did.
And Real Madrid, for some reason, wore black shorts and looked like Fulham. So I don't know. That doesn't take us anywhere, but I thought I'd just mention it. Thank you very much.
Do you want some bits from me?
Oh, yeah.
I know
go
you
on
like
then.
it's a classic for Andy.
I do like this Andy Murray story. Go on.
Oh, yes, it's good. Well, you can do the Andy Murray story.
Oh.
Britain will be hotter than where today?
Morocco.
Correct. Also hotter than the sun today. It'll be hotter than South Australia.
We did
probably
talk
today.
about this, didn't we? They're running out of places to be hotter than. They've done LA. They've
Definitely
done
hotter
Marbella,
than hotter than
Barbados.
Mercury. No, it won't be hotter than It'll hotter than Jupiter.
Is Jupiter not that hot?
It's further from the sun.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what you have to do is look where Earth is.
All right.
And then just go one across to the right, further from the sun. We're always hotter than that planet.
Who do you think I am, Galileo? Go on.
Do you know when Galileo did afternoons on talkSPORT? That was good, wasn't it? That was really good. Was it?
Really good.
Magellan and Galileo. You know, they're always there. Well, they're away again. Oh, they're always off, aren't they? Galileo thinks the moon, the Earth goes around the sun. He should be sacked.
He should.
Shouldn't he? Exactly.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to the moose with his arm around Galileo. My very good friend.
Gal to his mates.
It's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Big fan of the moon, isn't he?
Sir Andy Murray.
Yes.
Has been
Congratulations,
warned.
Sir Andy.
He's been warned to check for bats and birds as he plans to renovate his luxury hotel.
Did you know he had a luxury hotel? I didn't.
I did. I knew he was doing this. And of course, does this come under planning news?
I think it might be planning news, but we don't have the jingles on a bank holiday.
It's the Scottish Wildlife Trust says roosting bats could impact plans if the creatures are discovered. And a SWT, what's that? The SWT, oh, that's them, said a bat survey should be carried out by bat specialists. I was thinking, what, Gray Nichols?
It's that, oh, very good. Or a bat survey is it's family fortunes, but for bats. And we asked 100 bats. Do you know where I live in? Don't mention I live in Australia normally, but I'm back here. Yeah. And sometimes the bats, the fruit bats, they fly over our house. It's like really low. There's hundreds of them. They're big wings. It's quite
Australia.
exciting.
It's quite a dangerous place. is.
I mean, they're not dangerous themselves, the bats, but they sort of make quite a swooshy, flappy swoop. It's enough to make you go, oh. But they eat the mulberries. Kath next door, she's got the mulberries.
Oh, yeah.
They eat all of them, and then they defecate all over the floor, the garden. Right. And you know that phrase, bat-s crazy. Someone is bat crazy.
Yeah.
Bat-s isn't crazy at all. It's just really annoying to clear up.
Vile,
It's really vile, yeah. When it streaks down the window, you're like, this isn't crazy. It's just annoying.
Is it worse than fox poo?
No.
0871.
I think Jim and Simon did 3 hours on that last week. I can't believe it. What's worse?
I'm hearing.
Fabrizio Romano, or as you said, Fabrizio Ravanelli constantly tweeting about the transfers. I'd love the idea if he was the in-the-know guy.
Drives me mad. Honestly, I just don't get it. Oh, there's my phone every
who's
day.
Who's here? Bing, 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 bing.
10 past 1, it goes off. It's annoying. I think they know I'm on. Where is it? Where are you, Fabrizio?
Where's Fabrizio? What's he saying now?
No, but it was one particular one that was absolutely, just think, a lot of them you do think, who's interested in this? But then you'll find like 800,000 people have engaged with it, which is incredible.
If you have 1 billion followers, that's what happens. Can we get Andy Murray's address for the protest? That's an anonymous bat.
Here it is.
Getting in touch. Yes, what's happening?
Bilal Touré leaves at Atalanta to join Besiktas on an initial loan deal with buy clause. Up next for Besiktas, that was close. Thiago Djalo from Juventus, deal advanced.
Oh, deal advanced.
Let's see.
Okay.
1.3 million people have engaged with that tweet.
Have they?
Well, it's ridiculous.
It's okay.
Like, who cares?
Well, I don't care. Jonathan Bennett says, steady on, chaps. You're on Comedy Fire. Remember, it's a 3-hour show. Oh, yeah, hour 3. We'll really dive. New show, called Gally McCoist. Yeah, we'll get footballers and great explorers of our time.
That's a good idea.
Connect the two. That would be really useful. We could have radio shows for our new, what's it called? Astronomy talkSPORT.
Astronomy first.
Yeah,
Round the planets with Adrian Durham.
There's been a goal at Uranus. Clive Allen. I did like Tony Gale in the news says, and where there's blame, and he didn't say there's a claim. And I just thought, you absolutely should have done. When there's blame at Upton Park, at the London Stadium, there's a claim, isn't there? Graham Potter should sue.
Kane Williamson, our newsreader, said to us...
That was Kane Reeves. Kane Williamson.
Reeves.
That's a career change for Kane Williamson. Does he need the money? I still think he can do a bit, to be honest, for the Black Caps.
I feel Joe Root would be a better presenter.
Do you think so? I'm not sure.
Or Virat Kohli, the big four, and Steve Smith.
So, coming up at 1, Galileo and Ally McCoist, and then with the news, Kane Williamson and Kapil Dev with the sport. Weather updates from Jonty Rhodes. God, they really pushed the boat out in the news, haven't they?
Kapil Dev. That's ridiculous. I've gone now.
Oh, I love it. You've got some adverts to steady yourself. That's what we're going to do. We're going to thank the good people of Tool Station because we've lost Andy briefly. It's okay. Hopefully he'll be all right.
Anyway, I never got to do the bit about Kane Reeves.
What's happened to Kane Reeves? We don't know yet.
How do you pronounce the new Bayer Leverkusen's centre half that Spurs are interested in? Mm-hmm. So I think I recall Tim Vickery calling him Hinchcapey.
Yeah.
But so I said Hinchcapey, so he went Hinchcapier. Why did you even ask me?
Until he does that little video telling us how to pronounce it, then we'll never know. But,
yes. Andy Brassel will know.
Andy Brassel will know. And he's on the show, so that's lucky, rather than him not being here. Who'll know? I'll tell you who'll know. Richard Hadley. But he's not on, but he will know. You're listening to Rushden and Jacobs. Who are you? Andy Jacobs on talkSPORT in partnership. What a total shambles. A fun one. What a total shamble. It's good the other shows are sensible.
Reduce me to the warm-up. The Sunday warm-up.
Oh, that's a low blow, isn't it?
No.
Coming up, I Spy in a second. This summer, shop Tool Station's award-winning Hawksbee lawnmower range. I mean, if you've bought them every time we've suggested, I would stop. You've got enough lawnmowers. But if you haven't, get one. In-store, on app and online.
Kane Reeves doesn't ask me how to pronounce Hawksmoor. Hawksmoor.
Next stop, Tool Station.
holding down past him and put in by Chalobah. It's 5-1. A night that started with a world-class goal and plenty of positives. It has transformed into a complete hammer horror show. West Ham 1, Chelsea 5.
Oh, given away stupidly by Trafford. Here's Richarlison, Polinia. It is 2-0. What on earth are Manchester City doing? Well, everybody was laughing at Spurs this week. They ain't laughing now. Manchester City 0, Tottenham 2.
Up steps Gyökeres and slams it into the bottom left-hand corner. He has 2 now. It's Arsenal 5, Leeds 0.
First ever league match at the new ground, the Hill Dickinson Stadium on the banks of the River Mersey. Everton 2, Brighton 0, and what a goal from James Garner. And it's a winning start at that brand new home for Everton after 133 years at Goodison Park.
Afternoon all, it is Max Rushden and Andy Jacobs with you on talkSPORT until 4. That was how the Premier League weekend sounded this weekend. Interesting reaction to the start of our programme. Andy, John says, I love the fact Andy's been killed off by Max after only 15 minutes of today's show. Very funny. This one says, Andy, you could do better than this. You should have refused to work with this incompetent moron. That's Mike's.
Brilliant.
Let's bring in Danny Kelly to all this nonsense. Who's going to look back at all the games of the Premier League this weekend with the two of us. Hey, Danny, you good?
Yeah, I don't like my name being tacked onto the end of a sentence with an incompetent moron in it, but thank you very much. Yeah, I'm very glad to be back again this season on H&J because I love doing this. And, of course, what an amazing... fantastic matches across the Premier League, 1 or 2 exceptions this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to deal with it
absolutely
chronologically backwards. So the most recent game.
Of course we are.
Game, that's the way to do it. So Craven Cottage we go. Fulham 1, Manchester United 1. Do you want to kick us off, Danny? How did you feel about this one?
Look, I mean, it was a game in which the contested goal, the contested penalty, the endless VAR, the collision with the referee, I think kind of indicated it was a kind of chaotic game where neither side really got going. And Manchester United, who played well in their first game, were back to a little bit of their kind of clumsy, clunky self under the current regime. I don't understand it, truthfully. Casemiro and Fernandes is not a central midfield two that's going to do great stuff at this level of the Premier League these days, with all due respect to 2 brilliant footballers in their time. And I don't understand it. Help me with this. If, they made 5 substitutions, Manchester United. If Kobe Mainoo is not one of their 16 best players, then I'm missing something. The script has he put on 3 stone of weight or something? I just don't understand how this super talented player, particularly in a position where they're not at their, they're most abundant in riches, Manchester United, why he doesn't get a start. But, all away results are difficult to achieve in the Premier League. United will, they'll think they should have won the game, but there was nothing in it. It was very close, and it's hard to talk about it because there was no flow to the game.
On when Sesko came on as well, he's sort of non-existent. It's like he didn't even know he was there. Obviously as a player, he's obviously got something about him, but so far in the 2 games, he sort of comes on and you don't even hear his name. I mean, it's not exactly an impact player. It's
really interesting what you say there because Benjamin Sesko is a top professional footballer. He has a whole set of technical skills, but in what I've seen of him, playing for other clubs, Benjamin's big thing is his physicality. He runs fast, devours the ground, he knocks people about. He's come into a Premier League where he will be force will be met with force, muscle will be met with muscle, might will be met with might. And we'll see if that, which has been in my opinion, his number 1 weapon so far in his career, whether it will be enough against the kind of tough guys he's going to spaghetti Western villains he'll be playing against a centre-back in the Premier League.
And they're 2 key bits of recruitment. Cunha and Mbeumo, definitely good players, of course they are, but they kind of didn't need them because as I said this at the time, Fernandes is basically Cunha, he plays in his position.
Yes,
and
that's the
Ahmad
problem.
is basically Mbeumo. Maybe Mbeumo's a bit more advanced in his career because he's older, but they're basically the same player, which is a bit odd when they've got glaring deficiencies in other places. Strange recruitment.
The thing that annoyed me about this game was actually the penalty and the Man United goal, and this idea that it's so imbalanced between if you're an attacker. Obviously, if you're an attacker and you give away a free kick in the box, it's just a free kick, doesn't matter. If you're a defender, you give away a penalty. But now they're so focused on it. You had this moment where Bassi is fouling Mount, but right behind him Shaw is fouling Muniz. So they decide, well, that's the foul we're going to focus on and not that one.
That was odd.
And then, Lenny Euro can take a chance and push someone in the back, because if he's penalised, well, it doesn't really matter, and he gets away with it when it was, I think, the most blatant foul of all of them. So I have an idea, gentlemen, that I'd like to posit.
It's all got Howard Webb apologising to Michael Owen written all over it.
All over it. Max, is quite early in the season for one of your ideas.
Oh, yeah, I know it is. So here it is. If any attacker is, when they VAR look at it and they say, looks like you were fouling him, and a defender fouling an attacker, possible penalty. If anywhere in the box there's an attacker fouling a defender, then that overrules it, because I'm fed up with how many penalties there are. There are too many penalties, and then it's a free kick for the defending team. Your thoughts? So in that instance, you go, yes, that might be a foul by Bassi on Mount, but Shaw is fouling Muniz, so it's a free kick to Fulham, not a penalty.
Well, it would make sense. Or don't give anything would be a good idea, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Danny?
I mean, if one cancels the other out, of course, absolutely. They're looking for defensive fouls, just like they're looking far too stringently for handballs as well.
Yep.
Now, look, people say, we want more goals in the game. I don't understand that. Great football games are decided by the quality of the matches, and you might get drama, you might get a 6-goal a feast, or you might get a brilliant 1-0 or a brilliant 0-0. This thing of we need more goals. All right, let's say that you do, just because it's part of the entertainment industry. You don't need them by just turning everything into a penalty. It drives me mad, Max, and it's also having an effect on the crowds. As I was saying last night on Trans-Europe Express, there are certain grounds now in England, all to some extent, but many, a handful, where the whole game is now reduced to the home crowd appealing for penalties. Any contact in the box, any ball that hits a defender in any part of their anatomy, they're calling for penalties, and it's really tedious. It's driving me mad, actually.
I think we're all agreed. We're all middle-aged / old men yelling at clouds.
Where's our Oscars music? Because we need to move on to the next game.
Yeah, well, it's not called penalties, is it? It's called football.
I totally agree.
Exactly right.
We're going to talk to Alan Stubbs about Everton, but we should touch on it. It did look, Danny, great, didn't it? That stadium looks brilliant.
Oh, the fact that it looks like it's floating on the water for a start is just brilliant. The fact that they've built it for much less than some of the big, other stadiums have been built, but it looks like a football ground. All of it is fantastic. And along with Arsenal, this was one of the two teams who had a perfect home game, because Brighton played well. We all know they hit the post a couple of times. Welbeck did that weedy old penalty, but they were never going to win. You can't lose your first game in a new stadium. The juju, the superstition will be too terrible. And so Everton duly won the game. I guess if you're going to talk about it in more detail, I'll just throw in it was good to see Jack Grealish smiling again, because clearly he hasn't enjoyed his football for a couple of years, and he really did enjoy it there. And this is no disrespect to Dwight McNeil. He's a good footballer, but he has been the main creative wellspring for Everton for too long now. And Jack is, with all due respect to McNeil, he is a huge upgrade on that. And, a perfect day for Everton.
They're also signing Tyler Dibbling as well. David Moyes was funny after the game, talking about Pickford's distribution, driving him mad, kicking it everywhere or anywhere. I think he was saying something like that. But he does make, he did obviously say he makes good stops.
Yeah, saved a penalty, didn't he? And, a good weekend for him.
Well, David Moyes got to be careful not to try and be a disco vicar there. Old geezer catching up with the youngsters. David has had plenty of teams where people have played it long over the years, and so suddenly pick on Jordan Pickford for not being able to kick the ball accurately over 70 yards. He's a bit odd to me. But a great day for Everton and their fans. And the second biggest stadium story of the weekend, because we shouldn't let this pass, even though it's a review of the Premier League, of how delighted we are for the fans of Coventry City, who for the past 20 years have been bent over there in the West Midlands, having their backsides kicked by terrible owners, terrible decisions. For them to finally own their stadium, which was announced over the weekend, is just a thing of joy for me.
And then they won 7-1.
Yes.
And the highlight of that game was the QPR, after the QPR goal at 7-0 to make it 7-1 in the 92nd minute, grabbing the ball from out of the net. David running back to the centre circle just in case.
Game on.
We're still in this next goal. Next goal is crucial. Anyway, we'll do some more Premier League stuff with Danny Kelly in just a second.
boxing. It's a sport that makes multi-millionaires out of the world's best fighters, but it's not as flush with cash as you'd think. We all see how much the likes of Tyson Fury or Canelo Alvarez make every fight, but that's not the case for those just starting out, or those who aren't even at that level. For example, if you've just turned pro and don't have a promoter, you have to sell your own tickets, cover the cost of the venue yourself, and pay the tax man at the end of it. You might not even break even, but if you do, you're looking at 5 to 10 grand max. A mid-tier fighter might make more like 10 to 50 grand, but you still have to give up half of that in costs. So unless you're fighting for a world title, it's tough to make money. One potential way of doing it, though, is being a journeyman. Here's former European champion talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver explaining how that could work.
They want to fight every week, and they can be going in against the prospects, so they can demand good money, and they might be demanding like 5 grand, 10 grand for a 6-rounder or something, because they're going in with a prospect. He gets through that, the journeyman gets through that fight, and he can fight again next week.
I mean, even so, it's not much, and you're getting punched in the face for a job. It's only really at the top level, i.e. fighting for titles, where you're earning up to 6 figures and can afford a diamond chain or that Ferrari. So boxing isn't a sport that allows you to retire at 40 and live a life of luxury. Much like a lot of other sports and jobs in general, it takes an awful lot of luck quite early in your career to really make it worth your while.
Yeah, Chester, the hottest place in the UK. It's going to be a very warm episode of Hollyoaks later, isn't it? Look out for them sweating there. I believe it's live. It is Max Rushden and Jacobs with you until 4. Danny Kelly with us, looking back at the Premier League weekend. Let's do Palace Forest. And after the game, talkSPORT's Alfie Reynolds asked Nuno about his future.
The truth is that we have to speak. We have to speak, and we will do it this week. This is the truth, and try to create a better platform moving forward.
Nuno, can I just ask, are there plans then to speak to the owner later this week?
Yes, of course. It's needed. It's needed.
And do you still feel confident then that that's a relationship that can still be a very healthy one, working-wise?
I hope so. I think we are grown-up people that want the best for the club. This is what is important.
That is what is important.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the question, are there plans to speak to me? Yes, your voice goes
Absolutely there are, yes.
You think, oh, well, okay.
It'd be great if Alfie had said chinny wreck on.
When we were on Friday, Danny, together, and it came through, I did wonder, why has he publicly admitted this unless it's completely broken down? Now he's saying, well, no, we're going to talk. So we're still to know what's going to happen there.
I guess he's trying to bring it to a head. Something has gone on there, obviously, and he just wants to bring it to a head. I mean, in fact, in the build-up to the game, obviously you've already got the bitterness between the two sides over what's happened over their various European qualifications. But on top of that, you had the press conferences with Nuno Espirito Santo and Oliver Glasner, both of whom looked like they might walk before the game came round, which all added to, I didn't see the game. I've got to be honest, I didn't see it live. I only seen the highlights. But I have friends who are Crystal Palace fans, and I asked them what the atmosphere was like in the ground. And they just said just the word old school. Proper, apparently, but malevolence from both sides, supporters, in what, Max, we needed you on Friday. And we kept getting told this is called a Casico, and I couldn't understand what the Casico was. I mean, really, honest to God, the Court for Arbitration of Sport, ICO, what kind of construction is that?
It's not great, is it?
I totally agree. I mean, the game itself was Palace better first half, Forest better second. The pass from Ndoye to Hudson-Odoi, refereed by Chris Foy. I couldn't think of any other rhyming players. But that pass was that pass and the one from Josh Cullen, actually, the two best
the pass from Ndoye to Ndoye. Yeah. Chris Foy was total joy, wasn't it? The whole thing, yeah.
It really was.
But Forest did that a lot last season, didn't they? They're and Gibbs White obviously very much part of that. often their goals were good finishes, but the penultimate, the assists, were what really, I think, stuck out to me about Nottingham Forest last year. They were really getting the ball into very, very dangerous positions, often in games. Yeah,
but sorry, Danny, to interrupt, but the Forest fans must be there going, we can't seriously be thinking of getting rid of Nuno and then bringing in either Mourinho, where the football would be similar, but
that's sort of similar.
Mourinho and Marinakis is not a match made in heaven, is it? Ange going, what are we doing with this squad, Chris? You know,
no, the Postecoglou Marinakis is the one we want, isn't it?
You think?
Yeah. There's two geezers who will not back down in an argument, about themselves.
Maybe he wants more expensive.
And they can argue in Greek too. It's all good.
It's a very good.
Maybe he wants more expensive football. You think he'd be happy with what Nuno's doing? Anyway, that one will unfold during the week. Shall we move on to very quickly? Really,
and he's taking control.
I know.
It's a bank holiday.
Yes,
we can do what we like here.
Arsenal.
I'm in the easy chair. What's up next, Andy?
It's Arsenal 5, Leeds 0.
What's your question? Do we have to do when you're in a hard chair? Now do a question, Andy.
What do you make of that game, Danny?
I make it as an almost perfect day for Arsenal. I mean, in so many ways. I mean, obviously they whacked Leeds, and Leeds shouldn't take this to heart. This is one of those things. They got goals from their new centre forward. They managed to unveil from underneath the tarpaulin in which he arrived, Eberechi Eze. Max Dowman came on at 15 years of age and looked absolutely made for the Premier League. It was just a brilliant, brilliant day for Arsenal. And I think, Andy, you'll remember in the middle of last week, I said I thought they were the favourites for the title. They are now officially favourites for the title, and I think that's right. And if they get Piero Hincapié as well, which apparently they're in process of doing as we speak, they will literally have two good, very good, or brilliant players for every position. That's a great position to be in.
You can tell this year already. You can tell the difference. Odegaard and Saka look like they'll miss the next few games, couple of games, not as long as people think, but a few games. But now they've got Madueke to come in for Saka and Eze. So they're in great shape. On the surface at very least. Yeah.
And actually, Liverpool is next, and it will be. If Eze starts in the 10 against Liverpool for Arsenal, it's just made for him, isn't it, Danny?
Well, look, that game coming so early in the season, I mean, do teeth water? My teeth are watering. It's in my mouth, is it? Not my teeth that are watering. But also, neither manager will want it so early in the season because, and I suspect it'll be a draw. But if either side wins, then it's only 3 points. But it's actually 6, isn't it? Because it's 3 the other team can't get. It's too early for this huge game, but brilliant for us.
Yeah, I agree. Burnley, Sunderland. Look, it's great that the 3 relegated teams have all got a win, Danny.
Superb. I've already, that's actually in my notes.
Both Burnley goals. The setup from Jadon Anthony for Cullen is great, and the pass from Cullen it's almost as good as Ndoye's to Odoi, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, given that Burnley had a reputation for being great because their defence was so good in the Championship last year, those were pretty creative moments for a team that had built their success, as I say, around a pretty solid rear guard. It was a close game, and Sunderland will be disappointed to have lost to 2 such good goals. But these games are really important. Think about the 3 teams who came up. If you can beat both the other teams twice, that's 12 points. That's a third of all the points you're going to need to stay up can be gained from teams who were on your level last season. So these matches are critical, to avoid what we've seen in the last couple of years with all the promoted teams going straight back down again, which you're right, Max, to point out that they've all got off the mark now, which I think for the Premier League to be regarding itself like it does as the best league in the world, you can't have just a load of yo-yo teams down the bottom. It's not a good look.
No, I agree.
It was basically a top-of-the-table championship clash, and I love the terminology VAR used to justify their decisions. Adingra's slap on Hannibal was, I know you were talking about this yesterday, a petulant act.
It was.
Surely that's still a foul, a slap in the face, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even if it's petulant.
Yeah. Sorry I punched you directly on the nose. It's a bit petulant. Yes.
It's odd, isn't it?
Where's the line? Was Zidane petulant? That does seem petulant to headbutt someone in the stomach, doesn't it? But I mean, I think
I know. Max wasn't impressed with my sort of observation of Scott Parker's tie and collar combination.
No, I did like it. Yeah,
but it was far too wide. The collar is far too wide for the narrowness of the tie and the knot, which is unusual for Scott because he's normally spot on.
no fashionista me, but I bow, Max, always into matters of fashion to our friend Jacobs because of his background as a boulevardier and flaneur in the 1960s.
May I stop you there? Because once, Danny, in the Glasgow Herald, they had a feature where they stopped some random person in the street and they said, "What are you wearing?" You know, my jumper's from Primark and my trousers from M&S. And at the bottom it said style icon. And this one person in the Glasgow Herald said Max Rushden. So I
Really?
I know, it amazed me too. But I was once a man walking the streets of Glasgow said that I was his style icon. I feel for him.
Good to see that irony's not dead. Very good.
Can we do, because I was there, Brentford versus Villa?
We can do it, yes.
What a strangely off-colour performance by Villa. And we were talking, Danny, at the start of the show about the referee's voices and announcing. It was Tony Harrington in this game who didn't announce the disallowed goal, the second disallowed goal, which actually didn't even look like a foul, did it really? But we were denied the pleasure of Tony's golden tones for some reason.
Well, the whole game was a bit odd in some ways. I mean, for a start, about a third of the television coverage focused on Claudia Schiffer. So I wondered what kind of things we were missing on the pitch when Claudia was staring out. Probably, given that she's European, probably with a tremendous understanding of the game. Look, Andy, I hear what you're saying about Aston Villa's poor performance or odd performance, but they did have a load of possession, a huge amount, 76%. They had 17 shots at goal, but they were wayward. And you saw all this last year, Andy. You've seen all this. Brentford last year conceded, shipped loads of goals at home, yet hardly ever lost. And here we are again. They were conceding lots of possession, lots of shots at goal, but somehow found a way to win. And I like the way that Utara has now got Dango written on the back of his shirt. Dango's a great name for a footballer.
I agree. Interestingly, Claudia Schiffer left the ground thinking, I will never know what Tony Harrington stands for. That is the...
I know, she was gutted.
Perhaps we'll never find out.
I'll tell you what was good, though, being there. And sometimes, it's good on telly, but when you're actually there, Coyote's long throw, it's a sight to behold, this thing.
Is it on the Andy Legg, Dave Challoner scale?
Well, it's unbelievable because it's not only fast, but it's fast with a dipping trajectory. It goes high and then it dips like mad. It's and it reaches the far post. I mean, it's an unbelievable.
We talked about this before. A good long throw is more dangerous than a good corner. The players are so used to defending passes that start at ground level compared to something that starts at 8 foot off the ground. It's a whole different thing. And I can see why they're coming back into fashion because, these set-piece coaches have realised these lads are trained from youth to defend corners, but long throws have gone, it is fashion. And what was the name of the fellow who used to do them for Chelsea back in the day? Ian Hutchinson, was it, Andy?
Yeah.
He could throw it half the length of the pitch.
Oh, he was amazing. Jordan Henderson had a very good chance to watch him. Me and Thomas Tuchel were watching him very closely.
Right, okay.
Where I sit at Brentford, it's a great position for studying play. You can hear them, you can watch them. What a game he had.
Did he have a good game?
Oh, brilliant. Real leader on the pitch. You can see him, sort of directing people. His passing was forward. I thought he played really, really well.
It's interesting. But I'm going to stop you there because I want Danny to talk about Spurs in a minute. And
we need time.
We'll do that after the break. NFL was returning to Wembley in October. But it is. The LA Rams take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're giving you the chance to win 6 seats in a private box, full hospitality, £5,000. All ends at 11 o'clock tonight. So be quick. And here's how to enter.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission or enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by 25th August at 11 p.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. See talksport.com for terms and conditions.
Coming then, Danny Kelly with me, Max Rushden and Andy Jacobs. Let's go to the Etihad then. And I know, look, you're more Spurs than I am, Danny.
Sure.
But like at 2-0, and you're thinking, I don't know at what point I was relaxed, maybe the 95th of 94 minutes. And I thought, actually, this second half has been good. Is it too far to say that was a comprehensive victory for Tottenham?
It's my favourite Spurs performance for I can't remember the last time that they combined absolute solidity with hitting the other team in places they didn't want to be walloped. It was a brilliant performance by Spurs. Let's not kid ourselves. Long way to go and all the rest of it. They were really, really good on the day. The combination in midfield of Sarr, Benton, Kerr, João Palhinha. I mean, it just left them. What happened? City had no width because a combination of Jed Spence, Pedro Porro and Mohamed Kudus forced them inside. And you're running into there Romero, Van de Ven, João Palhinha and colleagues. City never got to grips with the fact that Spurs were forcing them to play the way that Spurs wanted them to do. This is Thomas Frank's influence, of course. The defenders weren't rushing up the pitch madly. Christian Romero had 2 lovely outings where he thought he could foul Erling Haaland in the opposition half. Didn't quite catch him. It was really good by Spurs. And City, what can you say? I mean, Trafford had one of those games that's probably set his career back 5 years because they'll bring in a replacement.
It was nice of him to send an invitation to Donnarumma. Very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Got all that little strange guilt edging on it. Absolutely. And Ruben Diaz has got a new contract. But talking to Manchester City supporting pals of mine, he's not at the level he was 2 years ago. Whether he's had an injury or something we don't know about. He was part of the problem that they had. And for City, it was a horrible defeat because they fancy themselves as title challengers. Trust me, Liverpool and Arsenal are going to pile up huge numbers this year, and there won't be much room for error. And that home defeat early on is a terrible thing for them. But Spurs were terrific there, and it was a team performance. We played the game on the View from the Lane, the podcast I do, of trying to pick a man of the match, and I said it's impossible because they were all doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I suppose you could say that Sarr was extraordinarily energetic, but it's a team performance. I haven't been able to say that about Spurs for a long time. It's great.
I think you're right. And I mean, it's really hard to pick out players, isn't it? But you mentioned Diaz because the midfield were brilliant. But I think City was so unsettled by Richarlison and Mohamed Kudus. And just that direct, they both never stop without the ball. And I think
the save from Vicario was key, though. If the goal... See, I'm waiting to see Spurs... I hear what you're saying, and yes, they're very solid. I'm waiting to see what happens when they go 1-0 down, because
bet you are.
Because the way they're set up and the creativity situation, that might be a different story. It's it's fine at 0-0 and 1-0. Of course, it works brilliantly to play the way they played. I've dropped City actually last week on my reactive first week predictions of the table. I had City winning the title. Now they're out of the top 4.
Yeah, they're 9th now. Yeah,
exactly. Ridiculous.
But I loved your predictions, Andy, and I want so many of them to come true.
I know, but
good.
Chelsea have raised themselves into the top 4. They're 3rd this week.
Chelsea 3rd. That's good.
They were 5th last week.
Yeah, well, I think I had Tottenham 5th at the start of the season. I did have City winning it, and maybe I'll change that.
Spurs are 4th. They were 4th last week as well.
Okay, yeah, no. Lots of reasons to be positive. Actually, Jed Spence as well, I thought. I mean, him and Porro were brilliant in that game.
Spence is playing on the wrong side, really. He really is a right-sided player.
No, they do look good. I think the test... I don't mean this as a joke, but one of the tests for Tottenham this year is when they play Chelsea, because they never beat Chelsea.
Never, ever.
No.
And Frank's got a good record against Chelsea. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens there. It'll be a real asset
They do need to add to the squad too, otherwise when the Champions League games start coming around, they start playing twice a week. I think it will be, and there's less time for Thomas Frank to organise that sort of thing. I think it'll be another challenge for them.
Yeah.
But don't worry, Daniel Levy, there's still 6.5 days of transfer window to go.
I bet you they bring in 2 players at least. Anyway,
I'm surprised they weren't in for Eze, to be honest. But let's
and Hincapie.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would have thought Conor Gallagher would be a good sign.
Not a bad idea. Chelsea then won 5-1 at West. I mean, the story is more West Ham than Chelsea, I think, Danny.
Well, a bit harsh. I mean, Chelsea had to deal with a very disruptive situation of Cole Palmer going out in the warm-up.
Yeah, but West Ham had to deal with just not having any good players.
Yeah, well, Max, this is one of those occasions where I wish I'd been braver. When we were doing the Fools panel on Friday, I raised a few eyebrows saying I thought Chelsea would win 3-0. I actually thought Chelsea would win 4-5 or 6-0 because West Ham are so bad and Chelsea are so good in the positions where West Ham are hopeless. I mean, we all know, everybody knows, Graham Potter knows, the fans know that West Ham's midfield, apart from the defence being a mess, their midfield doesn't help by not tracking. And therefore, it's no surprise, is it? Both Enzo and Caicedo score goals because they got the freedom of the pitch. And the confusion that's going on at West Ham United, Kyle Walker-Peters comes on in midfield. I mean, come on, guys, give us a break. Chelsea were terrific, Andy. You're absolutely right, and they did have the business of overcoming the disorganising injury to Cole Palmer. But the thing is, they've got the players to overcome it. West Ham don't seem to be able to overcome any setback. And once Chelsea equalised, and by the way, what a great goal that was for West Ham. Once Chelsea equalised, I think you could almost set your watch by the regularity of the goals they were going to score.
Yeah, if the
I don't know what's going
on.
You had West Ham. You had West Ham at the bottom of your no science predictor league.
I
take it they're already relegated now.
Yeah. It's fair to say West Ham aren't as good as Crystal Palace, having played the 2 teams.
No, that's true. Do you want to hear from Graham Potter? We might as well. Here he is.
Oh,
bless him.
Disappointed, of course, bitterly disappointed. Tough evening. Really tough evening. Not much more to say than that. Got off to a good start. I think scored a good goal, recovered the ball well, had some good attacks. But then I think the first goal is a cheap goal, and that probably sets the tone for the evening from our perspective. We're playing against a top team, I think, with some talent. But at the same time, the goals we've conceded are too cheap.
Probably didn't need to hear that.
This Puma ball, they've got a new ball in the league this year.
Yeah.
And that shot from Paquetá was incredible. But, I mean, Sanchez, he just waved it goodbye. But
Are you saying these modern footballs fly about a lot,
and then you saw Fernandez's penalty yesterday. It does seem to be, if you hit it too hard, it does do some funny things, this ball. But there we go. West Ham do need, they probably need Sean Dyche. And somebody mocked up an AI photo of him wearing a West Ham shirt, sitting in an East End cafe, having a full English.
Jelly deals. Oh, good stuff. Finally, look, Bournemouth got their first win of the season. How worried are you for Wolves, Danny?
Really worried about them, actually. We know that Vitor Pereira did very well last year, but the loss of 1 or 2 key players, particularly Matthias Cunha, means, these clubs that turn the whole team over every 18 months, what is Wolves' identity now, to use the modern word? What is it that you can say that Wolves have got that's special? They're almost anonymous as a team now. Now that something may emerge from that, but I don't see how it's going to happen. And then you get the slight confusion. I don't know what's going on in the background, but they leave Andre, who is one of their star players of last year, out of the team. Then they bring him on at half time, as though the manager believes he's made a mistake. Then he does a press conference where he says, I expect more from Andre. So is it a training thing? Whatever it is, Wolves were, I'm going to use that phrase again, almost invisible in the game. And Bournemouth, who played very well, I thought, at Anfield in that defeat, just carry on doing what they're doing. Again, they have lost a load of players, but like so many of them, they're a trading club as well now. Virtually all the teams in the middle of the Premier League are, but their manager seems to have a way of keeping them on the straight and narrow. And look, it's too early to say I'm worried about Wolves, but if you looked at the squad and what you think teams are trying to do, I'm not certain that what Wolves have been trying to do, unless their manager can pull some rabbits out of hats, will be enough to keep them up. Who knows?
Who knows? We will see.
Iriola is a good manager, though.
Hey, thanks, Danny. Thanks for doing the first hour. It's made our lives much easier.
Oh, yes.
Every Monday they put their feet on the corner of the desk, pop open a tinny, and let me go. Yeah.
Do you want to do two? Do you want to do 2 till 3 as well, Danny? Or you got things to do?
I had enough of that last week, man.
Fair enough. Yeah, 1 week's enough. I know what you're talking about. Cheers, pal.
How dare you?
Cheers.
Danny Kelly there, as he is every Monday on Hawksbee and Jacobs. This is brought to you with Toolstation. Shop Toolstation's award-winning Hawksmoor. Annoys me the language here, because you don't shop a lawnmower range. You buy a lawnmower from the range, don't you? And I have to keep saying it. Just go and get a Hawksmoor.
Peruse it, don't you?
If everybody could buy a Hawksmoor lawnmower, we could stop saying buy a Hawksmoor lawnmower. The other poor things at Toolstation that are not getting this airtime, they deserve it too. So everybody buy a lawnmower. Even if you don't have a lawn, just get one immediately.
Yeah.
More green jackets have been lost at the 12th than at the Augusta City Dry Cleaners. Rory McIlroy knows this better than most. But what is Amen Corner and why is it so iconic? The famous sequence has always been there since the Masters began in 1934. It didn't get its name until '58, though, when American sports writer Herbert Warren Wind, on the left, wrote, "At the farthest reach of the Augusta National Course, down in the Amen Corner." He drew inspiration from the 1933 jazz song Shouting in That Amen Corner by the Dorsey Brothers. The reason behind its difficulty is all in the sand and the water. Tournament officials don't even bother to count the balls lost in there each year, such is the sheer number. The 11th, named White Dogwood, is a downhill 520-yard par 4 with a pond to the left of the green and a bunker to the right. Both cause a lot of trouble each year. The 12th, Golden Bell, is perhaps the most famous hole in the world, with danger everywhere. Many aim for the flag, but look, get it even slightly wrong, and you're in the azaleas at the back, or the bunkers at the front, or even worse, Rays Creek. Or you can play it safe and aim for the open green on the left. You chicken. Tiger Woods once said, if you make 4 bogeys from Thursday to Sunday, you're doing well. And the highest ever score on that hole? 13. It's a par 3. Tom Weiskopf in 1980 was the sorry soul. Often, the iconic Ben Hogan Bridge is the only thing players enjoy about Golden Bell. Even if you escape there unscathed, though, you met with Azalea, the dogleg par 5 13th. It tempts players to go for the green in two, but cuts over those trees on the left at your peril. Every year, it seems, Amen Corner destroys someone's dreams. Rory McIlroy dropped 3 shots through here as his round unravelled in 2011. In 2016, a year after navigating Amen Corner expertly, Jordan Spieth shot a quadruple bogey on the 12th to throw away his green jacket. I mean, it sounds like my game, to be honest. So who'll be the next to be brought to their knees, praying for mercy after Amen Corner?
Change the walkout music, were they? No. The Z-Cars is about to start. It is just minutes away from the first ever league match at the new ground, the Hill Dickinson Stadium on the banks of the River Mersey. The fireworks explode into the sky, the blue flags waving violently above the heads of the supporters, and that's the roar as the players start to march out of the tunnel and onto the playing surface, which is lush green down below us. We're at the new home of the Blues, but it feels like the old vibe has been transferred from Goodison Park and stuck straight in this stadium.
It does look magnificent, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks great.
Very high rake, though. If you suffer from vertigo like I do,
so if you celebrate wildly, you might go down a few rows.
Well, you could do. I mean, it's very, very... But you need that if you want the sort of feeling of a big stadium enclosing the pitch. Of course, wow. It looks fabulous.
Let's talk to former Everton centre-back Alan Stubbs, who was there. Alan, how are you?
Good evening, good morning, I was saying then.
Good evening, good morning, whatever it is, yeah. It doesn't matter. Mate, yeah. You know, could be evening for you, Alan, if you want. So, how was it? Did you have a nice time?
I did. It was great. Obviously, I think it's important that whenever you're starting off in a new home, it's really important to get a win under your belt, and Everton managed to do that. The stadium is magnificent. You know, everyone was a little bit of probably just sit on the fence in terms of could we replicate the atmosphere from Goodison into our new home, the Hill Dickinson, and I've got to be honest, the atmosphere was unbelievable before the game, and I'm I think everybody there yesterday would have enjoyed life, you know, in Everton's new home, you know, especially with the win, because Brighton were good, you know, it could have been different. But Brighton are a good team. You know, I think we've all seen that. So it was vitally important that we got 3 points yesterday.
Yeah, it was a very good result. Because the Monday night, I was disappointed with them because I thought they'd do better at Leeds, but this was much more like it, I think, second half especially. Excuse me.
Yeah, it was. Leeds was a real blow, because I think that it was the performance more than anything. Leeds, I was at Leeds, and the atmosphere there on the night was really incredible. It was so loud, so passionate, and the Leeds players fed off that. And Everton didn't really cope with it. Certainly the first half. Second half, they were slightly better. But yesterday's performance was much more like an Everton performance, and you know, a couple of good goals. You know, one obviously from our new hero, Jack Grealish. You know, he was influential in everything Everton did positive yesterday. He was very good, and I was delighted to see him. He looked like he'd got that smile back on his face.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very good player.
He is a good player. It's interesting, though, because you sort of think Ndiaye would be better on the left. I just wonder if you want to play Grealish in the 10, because Ndiaye is so good, and you lose something having him on the right, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with that. I think eventually we will see Jack Grealish as a number 10. I think with the Tyler Diblin signing, it looks like it's imminent, and you would think that he would then go straight in and play on the right. You'd have Ndai on the left, and Jack would then fit into that number 10 free reign role, which would suit him down to the ground. And you know, from where we have been as an Everton fan to where we are now, you know, if someone would have asked me a couple of years ago if we would have had Iliman Ndiaye on one side, Jack Grealish in the middle, and a Tyler Dibblin, I would have started laughing. You know, so Everton have done. I think Everton have done very well this summer in terms of the business. I still do think they need a couple more, but overall, I've been impressed with the new owners and the way they've gone about their business.
How was Barry? Because that centre forward role has been sort of cursed since, I don't know, Andy Gray.
He's very young there. He's very raw.
But he looked like he held it up well, and that's what you need with those three behind. You need someone who can run the channels, can hold it up, and you know, I mean, I don't know if he had any chances, but how did he look to you?
Yeah, he didn't really have any chances. He played a big part in the second goal. He had a lovely first touch out wide to Adesina Gay, and then he played the 1-2 with him. He put him in behind, and he put the ball across for the goal. You know, so I still think he's a work in progress, if I'm being honest. I do think potentially Everton could bring another striker in before the window. I think there might be one or two that might go out. But if I'm David Moyes, I think if he had a choice, he would still like to bring in another striker.
David Moyes is great, and he understands the club, which makes such a difference. And West Ham, you know, they must be regretting, you know, letting him go, because look what's happened since he left.
You know what? He's been a breath of fresh air since he come back. We obviously had a tough time under Sean Dyche in terms of the style of football. He had a tough time in terms of dealing with what was going on in the background with the ownership. And, you know, I think Sean Dyche did better dealing with what was going on off the pitch than what he did on the pitch. And I think since David's come in, he's given the players a bit more license to be themselves. They've had a freedom to go and play more attacking football. You know, our form towards the end of last season was top four form. I'm not saying that don't carry on this season. I don't think that will be the case. Well, in fact, it won't be the case. But I do think Everton will gradually climb the table and maybe will be a mid-table team. You know, 11th. If they could get anywhere near 10th this season, I think it's a fantastic achievement and it's steady progress, which I think is what the club are looking to do now.
Yeah, look, we've seen new stadium not take a long time. Whether West Ham have ever fallen in love with the London Stadium, I don't know. The Emirates was tough for Arsenal.
It's so different. To the
no,
way,
no, I totally agree. But you know, Tottenham, I think it works. I don't know if it's just the quality of the stadium, and I don't know if you're an architecture expert, Alan. But could you put your finger on?
Not yet, Max. No,
not yet. Okay, there's still time. I think those degrees take a long time. But I look forward to us going on this journey now as Alan Stubbs becomes an architect. But can you put your finger on why it felt like home straight away?
The atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's. I think any fan going into a new stadium, they're obviously looking at where their viewing points are, what their seats are like. But if you give them one thing that they would want to have in a stadium, new stadium even, would be the atmosphere. And obviously we've moved from one which was iconic because it was the last of a dying generation in terms of how old it was and its character and how charismatic it was. And sometimes you think, how are we going to get that in the new stadium? And I think the one thing that the architects have done is to try and replicate the atmosphere from Goodison to the new Hill Dickinson Stadium. And the noise before the game yesterday was off the charts. It was incredible. And actually, it really was.
And forgive me, I should know this, but obviously the beauty of Goodison was, you know, it sort of came out of the streets. I don't know how far away this is from that, geographically, and do fans have to find a new pub, or is the idea that Everton want them to all do everything once they get into the ground?
I think what Everton have tried to do is they've tried to create that atmosphere within the ground. So obviously, you know, they've tried to with outside. You've got your stalls, you've got your eateries inside. they've got like it's a street vibe with his bars, and they're trying to, I think, which every new stadium is doing now, they're trying to contain that within rather than fans going out with and finding that there. And that's going to be the big thing for Everton. It as you would expect, with me being an architect, Max, you know, that's one of the things that we've worked on. And it's, I think there's a lot of Everton fans who are happy with that. There is probably still some teething problems, which you would expect, but we're not. It's different. You can't judge it the same as Goodison. Goodison was unique. This is new. This, in terms of the setting is like no other on the banks of the River Mersey. You know, it's a stunning stadium architecturally. You know, and the designer has done a fantastic project in trying to condense the noise within the stadium, and that's why I think it's so vertical and so steep. It really is. You know, you'll enjoy it when you come and see a game now.
Yeah, look, sounds great.
And self-serving pints. They've got
is that right?
Yeah, they've got machines outside the sort of in the concourse.
Oh, okay, that's interesting, isn't it? Well designed. That good idea. That from Stubbs and Associates.
Yes, that was one of the first ones I did, Max.
And look, what's great is you do small renovations. You'll do new builds.
I do everything.
Exactly. You know,
just send your designs in, and I'll give you a price and a quote, and hopefully we can do a deal.
Lovely stuff. Thanks for coming on, Alan.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Alan Stubbs there, former Everton centre-back, now architect. And, look great. And I can't wait to go. I never went to Goodison, you know. So, for me. So it's harder from Melbourne, I'll be honest.
Bit of an update from Kane Williamson-Reeves.
Yeah.
It's now gone from Hincapié to Hancapié.
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't want to dig out Kane, but I like the pronunciation of umpire. Is that because... Since The Wizard of Oz, not a lot of room for Oompa Loompas, but now they can be umpires. My chairs. This Saturday, two former
US... was an umpire.
Wasn't he? With his voice, he could be a VAR ref. This Saturday, two former UFC challengers swap the cage for the ring as Darren the Till. It should be Darren Kaching. No, I just made that up.
Darren the Till.
I don't know his nickname. What is it? Darren, no cash left overnight in this till. That's his nickname. Takes on former MMA world champion Luke Rockhold. What have you got for Luke Rockhold?
Luke Rockhold, is that his name?
That's his name. What's his nickname? Rockard.
Rocky.
Luke Rocky Rockhold in his boxing debut. Watch live Saturday only on DAZN.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Buy now at dazn.com/boxing.
Good afternoon. It is Max and Andy with you until 4. Let's do all the European stuff with Oracle of all European football and all football, I would say, Andy Brassel. Always nice to chat. Andy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Should we, before we do anything, let's clear up this mystery about the Bayer Leverkusen centre-half that Arsenal may buy.
Yes.
How do you pronounce his name?
Piero Hincapié.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you so much. Next question. This should be short answers from Andy Brassel.
It's like Mastermind.
Yeah, it is 1 point. No passes. Should we start in Germany then? And actually, we'll get to Kane and scoring lots of goals, but Joe Bellingham's dad coming and interfering with Joe being hooked at half time is great entertainment, isn't it?
It is, and what's been brilliant is every time Dortmund have tried to de-dramatise it, they've kind of re-dramatised it, which has been quite interesting. So they played their first game of the season away at St. Pauli on Saturday tea time. They're cruising to a 3-1 win, then obviously shot themselves in the foot, got a player sent off and got paid back to 3-3. But by this point, Job was a footnote in the game because he'd been hooked at half-time. His first start in the Bundesliga, of course, and his parents had come over to watch him, and his mum and dad came towards the changing rooms, down the corridors, because normally you wouldn't be allowed in, but they have a relationship with the Dortmund staff. They know them for years, so they would just let in. And they end up having this discussion, or especially Mark, his dad, ends up having this discussion, quite animated discussion, with the sporting director, Sebastian Kehl, who's one of the key players for Klopp when they won the title, going back 13, 14 years. And so Sebastian Kehl talked about it afterwards. Obviously, we think that it's about Job getting hooked at half-time and Dortmund not playing particularly well. But Sebastian Kehl said, look, it's only meant to be that area for players and officials. Is not meant to be for parents and advisors, so it won't happen again. So you think, okay, well, that's maybe made it slightly worse, but let's move on from there. And then Lars Ricken, the big boss, he comes out and talks about it. And of course, this is always the problem with Dortmund. There are too many big names and big voices who want their saying. So you think the big boss is going to calm it? And he said today, look, let's just put a lid on this. It's all resolved now. It wasn't a row. It was an animated discussion. I was like, well, basically, that's just another way of describing a row, isn't it?
It's a euphemism, isn't it, for that?
So, I don't know if, because obviously they have this previous relationship, and it's one of the things that Lars Ricken said, the reason we were able to bring Joe Bellingham is because we've had a great relationship with his family for many years, which is true. But obviously, they expect a certain thing, I would imagine, the family, from their previous Dortmund experience. And now the people who run things are a little different. And of course, the needs of the team are a little different. They're in a slightly different position. And of course, he's a completely different player and a different experience. We can't expect him to be as good as Jude. And something like this, just the optics of it, heaps a load of pressure on a young player who really doesn't need it.
No. And what favours does the dad do him? No favours at all.
No,
with the rest, he can stand up for himself. He's not happy. He can go to the manager himself. He doesn't need his dad. He's 20.
Well, when I lost Soccer AM, which was an absolute travesty of television history, my dad stormed into the head of Sky's office. He said he's not doing fantasy football. It's not his. He's there to do the funny stuff. And and they threw my dad out and cancelled his subscription. It was very upsetting. What happened to Bayern then? Gary Kane scored lots of goals. We sort of need. We want a title race, and you sort of think with all the other sides, what they've done, the business they've done, that it might be a bit easy for Bayern, or is that oversimplifying things?
Well, I think on the evidence of this first weekend, I mean, there's no other conclusion really to draw, is there? Of course, we all saw Bayern on Friday night, whether it was on the BBC or YouTube. And the thing about Harry Kane's hat-trick being the headline, it's not really the headline, because by the time he scored one goal, they were already 3-0 up. Elise and Luis Diaz, who were brilliant in the first half, took Leipzig, who are rebuilding, to absolute pieces in that first half. Bayern were peerless, even though they need to do some business this week. If they're to last the distance this season, Harry Kane himself last week said that the squad looks a little bit thin, and so they need to do something about that, hopefully, for them in the coming days. But you look at Leverkusen, who are totally rebuilding. They had 3 players in the team who were first team regulars in the back end of last season, and so we can't heap it all all on Erik ten Hag, but they were terrible as they lost at home to Hoffenheim. We've already spoken about Dortmund. Leipzig are rebuilding. And you look at the team who are maybe in the best position to have a go at Bayern. It's maybe Eintracht Frankfurt. Now, of course, they're all woe is us about selling Ugo Ekitike. The coach, Dino Turkmuller, said he's absolutely irreplaceable. Well, he's not, because they've got a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old who absolutely lit up Werder Bremen this weekend, John Uzun and Jean-Matteo Bahoya. And they were asked afterwards, Uzun was asked afterwards, you're going to be the next one they sell for 100 million, aren't they? And he said, well, I've only played one game this season. It's perhaps a bit soon, but, you know, they're like a Bundesliga Brighton. You know what's coming next. And they look in a really good position to compete despite those sales.
Right, we should have a look at Spain, and I saw the highlights of Real Madrid. They look quite good, actually, Mbappe, and they look like they were passing to each other. They look like they might be becoming a bit of a team.
Yeah, and you know what? Kylian Mbappe's had a good start to the season. When they played their first game of the season, which was only last Tuesday against Osasuna, he might have slightly manufactured the penalty that he scored the winner from, and he got a lot of stick from that. But scored 2 goals, linked really well with Vinny Junior. Trent Alexander-Arnold not starting that game, I guess, as they're sort of looking at it, and when you look at the defensive side of the game, because Dani Carvajal's fit again, they probably think it's safer to play Carvajal in the away games, at least for the moment. So Trent Alexander-Arnold only played the last 5 minutes in this game, but Mbappe started the season really well. But you know, he was really good last season. He scored 37 goals last season. They didn't win anything. So how he does personally really is not going to matter if they don't get to the point that they want to get, which is winning trophies.
They've got to avoid the PSG thing, haven't they? Which is, you know, be a team of superstars, but not a team, if you know what I mean. Barcelona, news of Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, so he started for the first time away at Levante, got hooked at half-time.
His mum came in and said...
Yeah.
Mad, wouldn't it, if that happened?
Well, she couldn't really, because they came back from 2-0 down and won the game 3-2. They were really good in the second half, despite lots of chuntering about refereeing and all the rest of it. The real question with Barcelona this week, though, is when do they get to play a home game? Because they're slated to play on the weekend of 13th and 14th at home to Valencia. But it seems they haven't even applied for the permits for a test event yet. I mean, when the Camp Nou reopens, it will be a seriously pared down Camp Nou holding 27,000. They're going to open it in 3 phases, but obviously they want to get in there so they don't have to pay rent. So fans will actually come because they've had a trouble filling Montjuic even with a good team, and they want to get the hospitality areas open.
But hang on, how do you, if you're sorry to interrupt, you know, how do they decide if you're one of the 27,000? Because there was how big was the Camp Nou before? Like
100,000.
Exactly. So you know, you've got a season ticket, but your season ticket holder 27,001. It's just tough luck.
Yeah, that's it, I think. So it's the reverse of the situation they had with Montjuic, because when they moved out there, it's such a hike and it's like not particularly easy to get to for locals. And, you know, it's associated with Espanyol, their city rivals. So a lot of the fans don't really like it. They introduced all sorts of incentives for people to buy season tickets, and very few people took them up on it. And they've really struggled to fill it up. Really, there've been tickets available for the Clásicos that they played there, but it's just been pitched at tourists where you can pay 300 quid to see El Clásico or whatever. So it'll be the reverse thing when they get back to Camp Nou. Not ideal, but it will stop them leaking money, which is obviously their major thing.
I liked the fickle nature of football fans, that Montjuic was just up a hill. So Barca fans say, I love football, I love my club, but it is a hill, so I can't be bothered. To Italy then, Scott McTominay, just doing what he does.
It's his league. It's his league. The rest of them are just playing in it. And, you know, there was a lot of fretting this week with, as we spoke about last week, Romelu Lukaku picking up this injury that means he'll probably be out 3-4 months. You had McTominay, he's doing it all. He's acting, he's writing the script, he's singing the theme tune. So he scored the goal to put them in front of Sassuolo in the first half, which was a potential banana skin of a game. Just come back up, but they've got a decent team. Hit the crossbar. They went on to win 2-0 with Kevin De Bruyne scoring a really fortunate second goal, a free kick that just went all the way in. And McTominay, because they're trying to replace Lukaku, has been on the blower to Højlund saying, well, why don't come over? Well, presumably that's what he's saying anyway, not don't come, it's terrible.
Interesting, isn't it? Anything else you want to give us from Italy or France before
Evan Ferguson is interesting because he struggled at West Ham, and you know, you wondered Brighton giving up on him, but sort of, you know, and he seems to have done all right for Roma.
Yeah, starting striker this weekend for Roma. Looked really, really good. Didn't quite get his goal, but brilliant all-round game. But really, we've got to give it up for the real number 9, Olivier Giroud, who made his home debut for Lille this weekend. He's going to be 39 next month, bear in mind. Scored the winner in stoppage time against Monaco. Still had time to smash it an absolute mile over the top from the penalty spot when they got a late penalty on the break. And just if you want the North London derby side of it, Max, you had a brilliant scene just before that where both teams were complaining of the referee. So you had Nabil Bentaleb, who of course came back from that cardiac arrest last year to be playing again for Lille, which is a great story. Him in one ear of the referee, Eric Dyer in the other ear of the referee. Wonderful.
Yeah, they're both saying, do you know when we were good, when Lamela would Rabona it for Tottenham in 2015?
I didn't realise Giroud had gone back to France. I thought he was happy in America. It's amazing.
Anyway, Andy, lovely to have you on. Trans Euro Express podcast is out wherever you get your podcast, so listen to Andy with Danny Kelly. Cheers, Andy.
Thank you.
Rupert Bell joins us in just a second to do some Rupert the Bell. Not to guess how tall people are. That's his real strength, which, of course, you can hear on the excellent Saturday warm-up with Max Rushden and Charlie Baker. But let's talk about Tommy Fleetwood, who has won... What's he done, Andy?
His first tour win in America.
First tour win.
Several close, narrow.
In America, and many congratulations to him. We'll congratulate him shortly.
When was the last time you saw someone score with a knuckleball free kick? We're going to take a look at why we're not seeing them anymore and explain a bit about how they work. The knuckleball peaked in the 2010s after that Ronaldo strike against Portsmouth in 2008 inspired academy players everywhere. Here's a young Mason Mount.
I tried to base my free kick on Ronaldo, hit the ball by the valve and it moves. So what do you do? Top corner.
Now, no ball is perfectly aerodynamic, so as it travels it creates ever-changing pockets of turbulent air, causing that unpredictable movement. Football's most prolific free kick taker, Juninho Pernambucano, perfected the technique but didn't invent it. He was inspired by players from the 90s and even the 50s. So how do you do it? You have to hit the ball head on with as short a contact time as possible so the ball doesn't spin. Hitting by the valve helps with that short contact time, as it's the hardest part of the football. So why don't we see knuckleballs much anymore? It's because players are being told not to shoot from dead ball situations because the XG is so low. In fact, as Opta shows here, since the 08-09 season, there's been a 10% reduction in players shooting from free kicks in the Premier League. And in 23-24, a record low of 11 free kicks found the back of the net. And the knuckleball, though spectacular, is imprecise, which is why it's becoming a thing of the past.
Tommy rolls it up to the hole from 8 feet 10 inches away to the cup. Off to the right, it misses. Tommy will walk up and tap it in for the win. Tommy Fleetwood is the winner of the 2025 Tour Championship. And with that, he captures the PGA Tour's ultimate prize, the FedEx Cup. At long last, it's the sweet taste of victory on the PGA Tour for Tommy Fleetwood.
He's finally won his first title, then PGA Tour title. That is 164th attempt, 41 top 10 finishes, 7 top 5 finishes in majors, an Olympic silver medal. He spoke to the media afterwards, was asked why he thinks he's such a popular winner. We're not going to tell you why, but he was asked that. But, you know, that's just for our information.
He had so many
not for
close
you
things,
to know.
I'd gather that would be it. He's a big Everton fan, which means we're very happy.
Okay. Anyway, let's talk to our golf correspondent, Rupert de Bell. Welcome, Rupert.
Good afternoon, Max. Good afternoon, Andy.
Yes, good afternoon, Rupert. This is great news, isn't it? And with the Ryder Cup coming up, and it was one of those things, a bit like McIlroy with the Masters. You began to think this will never happen, but it did.
Yeah, and after all the near misses he had recently, one with Justin Rose, who was greenside to celebrate the moment with him yesterday afternoon in America. And yes, it's look, winning pots of money, but the sort of nearly man, sort of getting almost labelled as a choker. And why couldn't he find a way to win on the PGA Tour? Look, he's won plenty of events on the DP World Tour, but obviously this is a step up. But to nail it, when you've got the 30 best players on the PGA Tour going head-to-head at the season-ending championship, is really just the icing on a cake. And it will put everything to bed now about him being the nearly man of golf. Because, and the interesting thing was he's playing alongside Patrick Cantlay, but you would have actually thought, watching it, that he was in Europe, because he was getting all the attention. Cantlay was almost being greeted in stony silence. Whereas the Tommy cries were ringing around the golf course for most of the run, because I think they've sort of warmed to the sort of nearly man story that he's been producing, and to get him over the line, added to the whole drama and the crowd really supporting him, which stands us in good stead when we go to Bethpage in about 4 weeks' time.
Yeah, it'll be a different crowd. That'll be a great event. Quite lucrative for Tommy as well. $10 million.
Just 10.
It's quite. There's a lot of money in golf, isn't it? It goes without saying. That's crazy.
Yes, there's FedEx, there's money everywhere sloshing around, but actually for him, I don't think that matters at all. Okay, it looks good. He's won over 40 million, and the rest it will mean in sponsorship. I mean, he is one of the movers in golf. People he's instantly recognised with his hair and his whole smiling demeanour. But he's now a sort of walking billboard. He's worth a small fortune, but for him, when you get that much money, it almost becomes irrelevant. It's actually winning the big tournaments. That's all that matters. We saw that with Rory. Look, he's got all the money and everything at his feet. But actually what mattered was actually winning the Masters. For Tommy Fleetwood, winning, the FedEx Cup means as much, who he's beaten. That's what's important, not the 10 million. Look, it's really nice in his bank balance, and his family are set up for life. But you have to say the money didn't matter a jot as he was coming down. He was nervous. There's no two ways about it. But having a 3-shot cushion coming down the 18th, that must have felt pretty good, knowing how many times he's sort of slipped up in recent months.
So that was, you sort of mentioned it was the season-ending tournament sort of thing. Then there's the Ryder Cup. So what do they do in between? Are there minor tournaments, or there's always some golf every weekend, isn't there?
Well, the PGA Tour starts again, but it's sort of the full. But actually, in terms of the DP World Tour, that's the Rory McIlroy's talking about. It's the race to Dubai. He's got the BMW PGA Championship, the Irish Open. There's some big events on the DP World Tour, so a lot of Europeans will be in action at Wentworth. I think it's 3 weeks' time. The more important thing, the Ryder Cup is obviously going to be the inevitable focus. It is going to be extraordinary. Yesterday I was at the Belfry in the afternoon seeing Rasmus Højgaard play his way into the team, and he said afterwards it was the most nervous I've ever been on a race, not a race course, but on a golf course.
You did it on a racehorse. That is hard. It's very hard to get out of the bunker when you're sitting on 2 for 3.
You could. Well, T for 3 was a very good racehorse, but
terrible
I
out
have
of
to
sound,
say,
Rupert. Terrible. Can I ask you? Sorry, can I ask you about that? Because when I first saw the headline, I thought it said Rasmus Højlund has qualified. I thought, blimey, that's a move. But so the 6 that have qualified: Højgaard, who I know nothing about, Tommy Fleetwood, Tyrrell Hatton, Robert McIntyre, McIlroy, and Justin Rose. Is that a good? Are we happy with that as a 6? Sounds good, but are we happy with that as a 6?
Yeah. Well, Rasmus is the twin brother of Nikolai, who was in the team last time round. I think when it comes to Luke Donald's captain's pick, which he will make on the 1st of September, I think 2:00 in the afternoon next Monday, he will go, I think, almost for the same team. The only change will be the Højgaard twins, potentially, because the rest of the players are all in pretty good nick. And with the Bethpage atmosphere and everything, you aren't going to want too many rookies. And for Rasmus, it's going to be a baptism of fire for him, as he doesn't play that much golf over in Europe, in the US. So for him, he will have to be protected. But he's a tough cookie. But I think the other 11 do give us a more than fighting chance of retaining and winning on American soil. It won't be easy, because obviously the Americans look strong. But if Keegan Bradley's the captain, I feel that's an automatic point in Europeans' favour. And playing captain, that is, playing captain, because everyone is saying in the modern Ryder Cup, you can't do that job. But he has just finished well. He's got to play. If you look at strictly on form, he's one of the best golfers in the world. But he's now going to couple that with trying to be captain. But he's a pretty tough cookie, and he's pretty determined. And I think he wants to prove that he can do both and really leave his mark on the game of golf by winning the Ryder Cup as a playing captain. But if he loses, heck, he's going to stuff us some criticism.
So who's the rest of our team?
Well, we don't know.
Can we have live players, a live players banned from this?
Yeah, well, Tyrrell Hatton is playing for us. Right. John Rahm will be one of the captain's pick. Bryson DeChambeau's playing for the Americans.
Oh, right. Okay.
So they've worked out the rules somehow that Tyrrell Hatton and John Rahm can play in the Ryder Cup. And Bryson DeChambeau, likewise, has qualified as one of the captain's pick, just as Tyrrell Hatton has qualified as one of the automatic selections. So it is live golfers are there, perhaps. But actually, if we look at the live golfers in terms of the Europeans, we probably wouldn't be looking at anyone being part of the team anyway if they were playing normally, because the golfers that we do have, we have a very strong team. And Luke Donald has an easier task picking his 6 picks come Monday, because I think, as I say, I think he'll just go for the 6 who played in Italy 2 years ago.
Good stuff. I love it so much. I think that singles day when it's close is some of the best sport you will ever see. Thank you, Rupert. Good stuff.
No problem. Thank you.
You are listening to Rushden and Jacobs on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation this summer. Shop Toolstation's award-winning Hawksbee lawnmower range in-store, on-app and online. Next up, Toolstation. In just a second, we'll talk to a man. Anthony Quinn, author, has written a book about Kevin Keegan, and we'll talk about it in just a second. lost the piece of paper, but I reckon I can wing it. It is the LA Rams versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. The NFL is back at Wembley. We're offering you hospitality, £5,000, 6 tickets. It's a big competition, and here's how to enter.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission or enter for free by calling 0330 880 338. All entries must be received by 25th August at 11 p.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. See talksport.com for terms and conditions.
All right, let's talk to the author, Anthony Quinn. He's written a book about Kevin Keegan, the man who was king, Liverpool legend, England captain, the face of Brute 33, pioneer of the footballer's perm, twice winner of the Ballon d'Or, Geordie God. This is the story of one of football's strangest icons. Anthony, thanks so much for coming on. How are you?
Thank you. I'm very well, thanks. Yeah, I'm looking forward.
Yeah, what makes him one of football's strangest icons, would you say?
I think he was out on his own as a footballer, as entrepreneur. He was unique in the 70s because he negotiated his own contracts. He handled his own sponsorships. He was basically a one-man band. In the era of chairman and clubs owning players, Keegan was out on his own as a kind of a lone wolf, really. And he was very shrewd as a businessman, but he was also brilliant as a footballer, which is how I fell in love with him first.
Oh, absolutely brilliant as a footballer, no question. That tends to get forgotten a bit. There's a great documentary about his time in the 70s, very interesting, when he moved to Germany. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
And then when you look at him play, when you look at footage, you realise what a brilliant player he was. What I always find slightly strange was he was so in the public eye. He was so much, as a player, as a manager, even as a pundit. He's almost, I wouldn't say disappeared, but you very rarely see him publicly now.
That's true. He was a sort of household name. He was a cult figure and a household name, and a name even in households that didn't know anything about football. But yeah, he has gone. He did that mid-career as well. He went and lived in Spain and played golf for 7 years, and then came back to manage Newcastle. So he's used to a disappearing act, but he's sort of dropped off the radar in about the last 15, 16 years. And I kind of miss him, actually.
Yeah.
Can you imagine TV companies have sort of want his services, but
sure.
he probably doesn't fancy.
Can I just ask, as somebody who is just a bit too young to remember him as a player, and it's very rare I get to say I'm too young anymore because I'm 46, Max Dowman's 15. It's very upsetting. So I'm reveling in being too young.
Lucky you.
Yeah. Talk to me, Anthony, about him as a player.
He was quite sort of bantam physique. He did his own physical training. He used to run at the terraces at Scunthorpe, holding weights. This is in the days before, personal trainers and proper fitness regimes. He was very quick. He was incredibly skillful. He was brilliant in the air, and he was brave. And he scored lots of goals, but he had something else. And this was not just confined to Liverpool fans. People loved watching him. He was one of those players that all fans seem to love watching. I can't think of many players like that now, even in the time since Keegan. Gascoigne, I suppose, and maybe now today, Cole Palmer. But Keegan had that sort of explosive quality, and always hung around him that strange dynamic of anything can happen with him because he's inventive and brave and skillful. And like I said, he basically transformed Liverpool in the second imperial phase. Shankly transitioning to Paisley, that was basically Keegan's golden years, in fact.
There have been some iconic moments with him that not necessarily to do with football, but not on the pitch. The I love it outburst, which gets played and everybody hears it over and over again, and the superstars when he comes off his bike.
Yeah. Yes, quite. Well, you see, you are possibly old enough to remember that 1976 that was, and yeah, I mean that was just a sort of primetime TV. 13 million people watched Kevin Keegan race against the Anderlecht captain on a racetrack, and he fell off his bike and shredded his arm, got back on, won the next heat, and won the whole Superstars show. He was that determined. He was so driven. He was so kind of bent on imposing his will that, you know, he won it. And that's how he turned himself into, you know, the great player as entrepreneur. Nobody else had done it. George Best was the only other famous player around that, you know, early to mid 70s. And Best sadly didn't have the temperament to last. He was, you know, he was a boozer, and it was birds and betting. And Keegan was just a sort of, he was absolutely determined to be the best player he could be. And that's what he became.
He let Fergie get to him, though, didn't he? Which was...
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, that was... I mean, I say in the book that he was a world-class player and an economy-class manager. I think he's better than that in a way, because he fielded such exciting teams, but Fergie absolutely psyched him out. And the I will love it thing is... It's one of football's great moments. It's like, you know, it's like Peter Finch in Network, you know, I'm not going to take any more. I've had enough of this. You know, it's one of those sort of, it's like a sort of statement of intent that became a kind of, well, it's become so many memes, hasn't it? It's become a kind of a rallying cry. It's like, you know, sort of Lincoln before Gettysburg or something, or, you know, it's one of the great moments in football. And you know what? I wouldn't sacrifice it for anything. And that's why we all loved Newcastle in the 95-96 season.
Totally. Did they lose that game?
We all
United. I'd love it. I'd love it if
they went to Middlesbrough.
No,
they won.
Actually, that day they won. That's the weird thing. The day of Keegan's rant, he was interviewed in the Ellen Road tunnel. They'd beaten Leeds 1-0, and he was still mad as hell. He couldn't help himself. But then afterwards, Fergie was obviously tittering at the other end of, you know, the M62, thinking, "Oh my Lord, we've absolutely got this in the bag."
It's that image, isn't it, of him just at Anfield as well in that season of just when Liverpool scored that fourth, and it's like he's sort of leaning over the advertising hoardings. He just can't believe it. And then he obviously quit in the dressing room, you know, in the tunnel for England after, what was it? Ian Walker's in goal, a 1-0 defeat to Italy. Was it?
Yes. No. He was, it was the World Cup qualifier. Walked through the rain, found David Davis in the loo, and basically quit. It was a very sort of sad end to a pretty unhappy period. It was 18 months he was England manager, and he's got the lowest win rate of any England manager, something like 38%.
Until Potter gets the job.
Until Potter gets the job.
Okay.
We'll see. Hey, look, thanks so much for coming on. Great to talk about Kevin Keegan.
Thank you.
Anthony Quinn. The book is called Keegan, the Man Who Was King. You can get it wherever you get books, can't you? Bookshops.
Yeah,
and whatever.
Sounds good. We can say what we like about Graham Potter. He doesn't listen to this station, you know.
Do you know? Is that...
Well, he mentioned it in a quote.
As a football manager, I wouldn't listen to talk.
He said, I don't listen to the radio, and especially that station.
No, and I don't blame him.
He said, I do like the warm-up, though. But
well, of course.
He said, I prefer the Sunday to the Saturday, but not really.
That's too much shouting. Charlie shouting, not Graham doesn't like. They're all welcome, but I think if I was a footballer, I'd be listening to something else. Probably. I think it's ridiculous, isn't it?
No, a lot of people in the game love this.
That's good. Okay, go on then. If you're a Premier League footballer and you're listening to us, the phone line's just for you, 08717. Really great. It says, "Hi, it's Ola Aina here. I love the show." Yeah, let me tell you about Nuno. Anyway, what are we doing now? Doing some bits. The best bit of the show in just a second. This book, Keegan, the Man Who Was King, by Anthony Quinn. So go and read it, buy it, and all those kind of things.
more green jackets have been lost at the 12th than at the Augusta City Dry Cleaners. Rory McIlroy knows this better than most. But what is Amen Corner and why is it so iconic? The famous sequence has always been there since the Masters began in 1934. It didn't get its name until '58, though, when American sports writer Herbert Warren Wind, on the left, wrote, "At the farthest reach of the Augusta National Course, down in the Amen Corner." He drew inspiration from the 1933 jazz song Shouting in That Amen Corner by the Dorsey Brothers. The reason behind its difficulty is all in the sand and the water. Tournament officials don't even bother to count the balls lost in there each year, such is the sheer number. The 11th, named White Dogwood, is a downhill 520-yard par 4 with a pond to the left of the green and a bunker to the right. Both cause a lot of trouble each year. The 12th, Golden Bell, is perhaps the most famous hole in the world, with danger everywhere. Many aim for the flag, but look, get it even slightly wrong, and you're in the azaleas at the back, or the bunkers at the front, or even worse, Rays Creek. Or you can play it safe and aim for the open green on the left, you chicken. Tiger Woods once said, if you make 4 bogeys from Thursday to Sunday, you're doing well. And the highest ever score on that hole? 13. It's a par 3. Tom Weiskopf in 1980 was the sorry soul. Often the iconic Ben Hogan Bridge is the only thing players enjoy about Golden Bell. Even if you escape there unscathed, though, you met with Azalea, the dogleg par 5 13th. It tempts players to go for the green in 2, but cut over those trees on the left at your peril. Every year, it seems, Amen Corner destroys someone's dreams. Rory McIlroy dropped 3 shots through here as his round unravelled in 2011. In 2016, a year after navigating Amen Corner expertly, Jordan Spieth shot a quadruple bogey on the 12th to throw away his green jacket. I mean, it sounds like my game, to be honest. So who'll be the next to be brought to their knees, praying for mercy after Amen Corner?
Good afternoon, you're listening to Hawksbee and Jacobs on talkSPORT. Max and Andy with you until 4. Paul back tomorrow. He's had a long old holiday, hasn't he?
Well, it's well deserved.
He is, yeah, really puts it in, does the lad.
Yes.
You know, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. I think he's got a big season ahead, Hawksbee, and I think he'll do a great job.
He'll be very happy about Tottenham, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, he'll be delighted. So it's one of those times of the show where you get to sit back and go, Andy, what have you got?
Well,
I have some vignettes, so I'll you know.
You join in, chip in.
Join in, I'll see what I can do.
Earlier in the show, I can't know how we got onto it, but the idea of Galileo doing a show with Harry McCoist.
Well, of course, that's naturally where it would always end up.
Yes. I've written down, it's a long time ago now, it doesn't seem to make much sense. Isaac Newton and Majestic.
Yeah, really good. That's good stuff.
Yes.
What a good feature.
I didn't, during the review of
Who's
Brentford,
come back down to earth with a bump? That would be one of Sir Isaac Newton's features, wouldn't it? Be good.
It's true. During the review with Danny Kelly of Brentford versus Villa, I forgot to mention Keith Andrews' shoulders.
Yes, I mean, it is. We do overlook it, don't we?
I sit right behind him, and they're remarkable. They're remarkably square. It's only because I'm quite round-shouldered. I'm sort of more a raglan sleeve man.
I understand, yeah.
Whereas you can't really get it on the...
Okay. I mean, you know, I think you have a big enough clips of the week anyway. Paul's been on for 2 weeks. But yeah, so he's like sort of Dynasty. He's like one of those 80s Dynasty suits.
A bit like Kelly Cates on Match of the Day. I thought she was going for the Dynasty.
Yeah, wide shoulders.
Wide shoulder. They were very wide.
But, you know, a good performance from Kelly. I thought, because then she was there at the Hill Dickinson, wasn't she, I think? I thought, gosh, she must be tired.
Yeah, I thought
finished
that
late
too.
on a Saturday and early on a Sunday, but like, a bit sleepy now. She should have started by saying, I did Match of the Day last night. Surely you could let me do the late game. Let Dave Jones do the afternoon one, for goodness sake. This is ridiculous.
She must, I imagine she flew up there, I would imagine.
Do you think so?
Well, I thought so.
No, but I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? Private jet? They'll be outraged. I thought that stopped when Lineker left. Now I'm furious again with the BBC. Also, because I saw Chapman was doing Friday Night Football, wasn't he? God, he's busy as well, isn't he?
I know.
Have a rest, some of you.
They don't seem to mind, really, which is, jolly good.
Wasps fans are buzzing.
Wasps fans?
Wasp,
What,
no,
the rugby?
no, sorry. Wasp fans. Do you have
not
wasps?
the rugby team.
Not the rugby team. No, this is nothing to do with rugby.
Okay.
Wasp fans are buzzing after, because they are after... Morning, Adrian. Yeah, big Wasp fan. Like the bees, but big Wasp fan. After King Charles caught and released the creatures at his country retreat instead of killing them.
Really?
This is good. God save the king. He's not. He doesn't kill the wasp. He catches them. He's been battling a major wasp invasion at his Sandringham home in Norfolk. We don't know if they've come from France. Special traps have been set up to attract the insects inside so they can be safely released everywhere. A source said, who is the source on King Charles and
Camilla.
wasps? King Charles is known for his love of the environment, but everyone is aware too many wasps could be a problem for visitors.
That's very true. What it's going to be a bit of a problem, September wasps.
Paul Hetherington from Bugger.
Have wasps in France.
Do they have wasps in Norfolk, King Charles?
But Maddie Portis wrote to The Sun, she's not as happy with King Charles as you are.
Oh, right. What's Charles done?
Does King Charles do anything other than take holidays and find ways to make more cash?
Right.
Recently, he was making tartan coats for dogs. Now he's selling teddy bears at his Highgrove estate. I don't think it's him personally making them.
No, he is. He knits every coat for a dog you've ever seen was made by King Charles.
It's ridiculous.
And you see a dog pootling away with a coat on, King Charles made it. And in between time, who wrote that letter? In between time, he's rescuing wasps.
Maddie Portis.
And he's setting them free. It's like a real budget Gorillas in the Mist, isn't it? He gets the wasp, and then, once they're ready to go back into the wild, he leads them out.
That's lovely, isn't it?
It is beautiful. Do you know about Mark Gay wants to be a wrestler?
Yes, he was interviewed, wasn't he, on TV? And I think the press like that, somebody will do an interview, either a podcast or something, and they'll lift it as if it's like...
I don't think there's a future in podcasts, personally. But, he told Kelly Summers...
What did Mark Gay do yesterday? That's what we want to know.
Do you know what? I'm not any good, but I'd love to be a WWE wrestler. How does he know he's not good? Like, has he practiced the Royal Rumble?
Well,
Do they do that
really
at Palace
practice,
training?
Can you? Not really.
Do they have come in and gets hit over a chair by Will Hughes and then gets caught in a figure four leg lock by Jason Devaney? I don't know. But
I'll tell you what never happened. This was from Friday. This was the Daily Star.
What never happened?
Britain is braced for a bank holiday battering by Hurricane Erin.
Oh, dear.
Not really. It's quite a nice day today, isn't it?
That's a lovely day.
That never happened.
Do you want to know about the surface of the moon?
The surface or the service?
I don't know about the service.
The service on the moon.
It's knocking in crosses. He never beats the first man, the moon, does he? He can't be on corners. That's the problem, isn't it? Space rovers keep getting stuck on the moon because its surface is fluffier than Earth's. Did you know this?
No.
Boffins reckon the robots are getting bogged down on the lunar surface after standard testing overlooked a seemingly inconsequential detail, the pull of the Earth's gravity on desert sand. This is why we need the show with Sir Isaac Newton and Majestic. Professor Dan Negrut and his team at the University of Wisconsin-Madison determined that the Earth's gravity pulls down on sand much more strongly than gravity on Mars. He said on Earth, sand is more rigid and supportive. But on the fluffier moon surface, it's real tough for the rover. It's tough for rovers. It's tough for Blackburn Rovers. It's tough for Morgan Gantz Pedersen and whoever is currently playing, and David Dunn, who's currently still playing for Blackburn. I think it's tough for Mike Newell and Alan Jason Wilcox. And that's why they get bogged down on the Ewood Park surface.
You do, yeah.
Because there you go. So that's
Model Katie Price is
hello, Katie.
She's making a documentary about her life. To
Okay.
go and say, I've always thought, I wish I knew more about Katie Price. Honestly,
the untold story.
Nothing that you don't know about her.
Actually, I'd say there's loads I don't know. Really? I don't know where she was born.
Oh, okay.
I don't really know anything about. I don't know anything about her since. I barely know anything.
You don't even know who the Ibiza final boss is.
Who is the Ibiza final boss?
He's a social media sensation
What's
with
he
a bowl
doing?
haircut.
Okay, and what does he do?
Well, nothing really. He just goes on holiday
to Ibiza, I presume.
Yeah.
And what does he do as final? Is it like the final boss in?
Well, I think he sort of dances and
right.
Yeah, and then I don't get it really, but he's become
okay.
He's become huge.
I'm not going to say you've never sounded more like an old man because I think you probably have. But
at least I'd heard of him. You
have heard of him. I must confess, I've never heard of Ibiza final boss man, but I suspect he's never heard of me either. But good luck to him on whatever he does. I mean, presumably it's a final boss. You need to be like on Golden Axe or something on the Sega Mega Drive, and then that I understand that form of final boss.
I've got a question for you.
Great, I'm here for your question.
Do you want to stay one step ahead with the finest Farrah trousers brought exclusively to you by Chums?
Yes, please, Andy.
Well, no, it's fantastic. It's what I call my section Reader's Trousers.
Okay, so whose trousers are they?
Well, these basically are trousers that are advertised in national newspapers.
Right.
And I always sort of maintain that it's quite hard to buy a pair of trousers from a newspaper.
It is hard to buy a pair
I think
of
you've got to try trousers on, really, because they might be too wide.
Big
they might
stuff
be too
here
long.
from Andy, you're right.
But these are packed with premium features, like the internal waist bearer, providing additional closure, helping the front to lay flat and preventing the fly from gaping over.
How close do I want my trousers to be?
I don't want to see you.
All trousers I
don't
own.
want to see you gaping over.
Oh, I don't want to go back. Especially now we're live on YouTube. That'd be absolutely terrible. Which talkSPORT presenter would you least like to see gaping over? Who needs these trousers? 8:10:89. Morning!
Exactly. Not only to mention the gripper waist brand.
Oh, yeah.
Waist brand on the inside to hold your shirt in place. Well, that's quite handy, isn't it? So it's got a sort of, so your shirt doesn't fly out of your trousers.
Because what I need is a shirt that remains untucked or tucked. I've forgotten.
Anyway.
Where's Chris Riccobono these days?
He's finished with...
He should team up with these trousers.
I haven't tempted you, have I? They're finished with 2 buttons fastening back and 2 slant front pockets. Quite useful. We know
Pockets
that
are
you will,
useful, that's
you
good.
will love these trousers.
Oh, will I?
And you'll keep coming back for more.
How much are they setting me back, Andy?
Well, I don't know, but hurry, as prices won't stay this low forever.
How quickly are they going to go up? This is extraordinary. Do you want to know about where Hugo Lloris put his family?
Oh, yeah, God.
Yeah.
He's got a book out, hasn't he, Hugo?
Has he? Well, he put his family in Bakary Sagna's house.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he moved his young family in with Bakary Sagna. I don't know if he moved in. I don't know if he just said, Bakary, here are my
had
kids.
left, hadn't he?
He said, Lloris chose to move his young family in with Bakary Sagna
That's
instead
very odd,
of William Gallas or Yunus Kabul, even though they play for Tottenham.
That's really odd. Makes no sense at all.
It makes no sense.
I don't get it.
The thing is because he played for Tottenham and Sagna played for Arsenal. So he moved his family in with Bakary Sagna. Why didn't they all live alone? Why did Hugo Lloris have to have the choice? It was like a weird game show where he moved to Tottenham. They said, you've got to live with Bakary Sagna. Right, here's a question for you, Arne. I'll buy your trousers. Who would you want to live with? Bakary Sagna, Yunus Kabul, or William Gallas?
Well,
it's a tough call.
Probably not William Gallas because we never forgave him for leaving Chelsea.
Right, so every time you
wasn't
saw
his
him
fault though, because Mourinho kept playing him at left
Right.
back, so maybe I could move him.
It's like every time you went into the kitchen, you'd be bitter with William Gallas, whereas you hold nothing against Yunus Kabul.
And we wouldn't have got Ashley Cole, I suppose. So no, I can't hold anything against him. Really.
Right, so now you do want to live with William Gallas. Make your mind up, man.
I'm moving in with William.
You're moving in William Gallas. Okay, good news.
I did say to you, and I've never understood this, that certain newspapers write about posh people, and you think, are people actually interested in these people?
In posh people?
Well, yeah, the posh people you've never heard of. So, for example...
Yeah, tell me.
Are you interested in David Tolmarsh?
Yeah, what's he up
nephew
to?
of Lord Tolmarsh at Elmingham Hall.
Yeah, what's he doing?
He's married Phineas Page. He has married Phineas. They got engaged after Phineas Page left for... I don't get this. Oh, I see. Yes.
Do you want to start again?
No.
Are you sure?
Are you interested in Phineas Page?
I am interested in
Heir
Phineas
to the pizza
Page.
chain, Franco Manca.
Oh, okay, I don't mind a Franco Manca. Although I got very rude service there once on Broadway Market.
I'll have a word with Phineas.
I don't know if it was Phineas. I don't know if it was Phineas himself.
It was Sabrina Percy, I think.
Oh, well done, Sabrina.
Yeah.
Pete says, was Gripper Waistband not in Grange Hill? The latest episode, by the way, of 21 Minutes to Go podcast with Andy Goldstein and Jason Cundy is out now.
Oh, right.
All the usual chaos this week, including cues, confusion. We learn that Jason may be a man of many talents, but giving life advice doesn't seem to be his strong point.
No, that's... Well, I
Do you know what, mate?
Here's a clip.
Just be you.
Brilliant.
Just be you. Just be you. Keep being you.
That would be... So,
I think so, mate.
how old's your son? 10?
Yeah.
If you're the youngest one, if he said, Dad, give me some great life advice.
Yeah.
It would just be you.
Keep being you.
Keep being you.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
That's it.
Keep being you, and then, do you know what? That's it. Keep being you. I think it's good advice.
3 words. Keep being you. So, how old are you? 55? 55? And all you can give...
My life experience.
All you can give, out of everything you've learned, is 3 words.
Yeah.
He's good for 55. Jason.
Do you think so?
Oh, yeah. Tremendous.
Well, you can, if you'd like that podcast, go to it's 21 Minutes to Go with Andy Goldstein and Jason Cundy. Available on your favourite podcast provider. I don't think Just Be You is quite good advice.
you on it? We're on everybody else's podcast.
No, it's not. It's not on my rotation yet, but the power of yet. Maybe it will be soon. Andy Goldstein with you on Drive from Forward.
I'm on no other podcast other than this show.
Right.
And that's only because I'm on this show. Otherwise, if they could cut me out, I'm sure they would.
No, actually, do you know what? Have you ever listened back? Because you're never on. They cut out all your bits. It's just Paul. It's the Paul Hawksbee podcast.
Well, I wouldn't blame them.
No, he's a good broadcaster.
He's very good, yeah.
Anyway, we're doing something next. Alan Biggs is going to join us. Yeah, Sheffield United started badly. Sheffield Wednesday did well, didn't they? Come back at Wrexham, but we'll do a bit interesting times for both those clubs. And Alan Biggs, our Sheffield correspondent, will join us in just a second. Out the break. Sad.
Anyway,
we won't tell you.
Talking about a certain player who can't leave his club.
Yeah. Sad. Max and Andy with you until
Probably
4.
gets who it is. from that description.
Anyway, brought to you in partnership with Tool Stations. Sad. This summer, shop Tool Stations' award-winning Hawksbee lawnmower range in store, on app and online. Next up, Tool Station. Speaking of sad, Sheffield. Pastor Jim was saying Glasgow, the saddest city in football at the moment, with Celtic and Rangers both struggling in Europe and domestically. But Sheffield might have a case, mightn't they? Wednesday, obviously, all sorts going wrong there. And Sheffield United, bottom of the Championship. Our man in Sheffield is Alan Biggs. Welcome, Alan.
Oh, yeah. All right, Max.
Yeah.
Remind me of that, will you?
Oh, dear.
Oh, the line is, I mean, I don't know why, I don't know if the Wi-Fi is...
it's grim, isn't it?
It's grim, isn't it? We can't hear a word you're saying, Alan, either.
It does look very distinctive.
What, Alan?
If you're watching on YouTube.
Yes.
Distinctive grey hair.
Yeah.
Like yourself.
Do you have anything else? You got anything else while we're waiting? While we're waiting for Alan?
I've done all my posh people material.
You've done all your Phineas
You want
Fogg?
to talk about...
Yeah. Nick's a splendidly amusing radio this afternoon, gents. Sir Isaac Newton and Majestic needs to happen. The Sky at Night phone-in with Chris Linnett and Majestic. Surely Phineas Fage is the greatest character Jules Verne ever created, says this text.
Did you know there are 4 main species of giraffe? They never knew this until last week.
What are they?
I know. They are...
Big?
Maasai, northern reticulated. Oh, northern.
Right.
Not northern reticulated. I don't want to make a mistake. What a terrible error that was.
Of course.
Maasai, not Messi. Lionel Maasai. I like to bring it back
Lionel
to
Messi has got... The Messi giraffe has got a low centre of gravity. Tiny legs. Still got the long neck.
Got a very long neck.
Good at corners. But also, it's very hard to keep track of him, yes?
The Maasai, the northern, the reticulated, and the southern.
The reticulated
I don't know
giraffe.
how they've only just discovered this, really.
Sounds like the travel news, doesn't it? And the reticulated giraffe has shed its load outside Linton Zoo. We have Alan Biggs, thank goodness for that, because we were really running on embers. Alan, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks, Max. Well, this is what happens in Sheffield football at the moment. Nothing works, does it?
Nothing works.
Absolutely nothing works.
But that's good. We've got you on an old school telephone, like you're ringing in a match report from a European.
Hugh Johns in the 70s for me.
84. Anyway, look, Sheffield United. Should we start with them? Bottom of the Championship. They lost to Bristol City, Birmingham, and and Millwall already in the league. Knocked out of the. No, hang on. Bristol City, Swansea and Millwall in the league, knocked out by Birmingham in the Carabao Cup.
They've lost 4 games out of 4. And when they fired Chris Wilder, it seemed like a very strange decision.
Andy, Max, you are speaking entirely to the converted. This is on the board more than the manager. New owners, COH Sports, there are multiple investors, nobody apparently leading on decision-making. None of them apparently are turning up for the games. They made a highly contentious decision in the summer. For highly contentious, I've already said utterly stupid, and they are having to live with it. But Ruben Sayers gets some sympathy for me. The board, having made such a call, had a duty to support him. Have they supported him? No, not so far. 11 of last season's promotion near-miss squad in the summer, that's including loans. Had they kept them all, it was still going to be a tall order to top, 92 points, finishing third, just missing out in the playoffs. £20 million has been raked in from sales, and coming in so far, 4 players on loan. And, it's reached a point, how far will these owners commit to support Sayers, who is already under the cosh from supporters? So it's all a bit of a myth, a bit of a mess, I was going to say. And, there was talk when the owners made the statement about changing manager, they talked of a, quote, change of culture. A change of culture to what? From a winning culture that was in place before. So none of this makes sense at all.
I suppose it's the style of play, but, in the end, they had a good season. Sheffield United, they're pretty unlucky, and it would have been worth sticking with him. It was a strange decision. They do still have Gustavo Hamer, who I think is one of the best players outside of the Premier League. I'm amazed clubs higher up haven't come in for him.
No favours have been done to Gus at the moment either, because he's been played in central midfield role, whereas he was at his best coming in from the left. He's one of the misfits in the system that Sayers is playing at the moment. I don't understand. Okay, I've got sympathy for him. If you took Saturday game in isolation.
I was really hoping, Alan, that your phone would be slightly better than this. I'm really sorry. The internet didn't work. The phone doesn't work. Sheffield is just completely broken as a city.
I know. We have to mention Chesterfield, though, don't we?
Yes. Well, no, we do that. I mean, it's Phil Kirk, the owner of Chesterfield. I don't have a lot of details on this. He threw this at me. And Phil Kirk is the Chesterfield owner. He has died tragically at the age of 59.
I think Alan knew him and he wanted to pay tribute.
He did. And we'll get Alan back. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. He's back, is he? Is Alan there?
I'm
Biggs.
here.
Oh, you're here
Yeah,
and your
I'm
phone
here.
line is working. Okay, look, we'd moved on from Sheffield United and Ruben Sellers, who I think is a good manager, but is not being supported at the moment. Should we do Sheffield Wednesday before we talk about Phil Kirk? Sheffield Wednesday, they came back at Wrexham. It's been interesting for Wednesday because a lot of us presumed that they would just lose every game 5-0, but even though they haven't got many points, they have shown spirit, haven't they?
Oh, tremendous. I mean, it's remarkable. There is heart and soul in that club, and that heart and soul is in the dressing room, and it's on the terraces in the stands. There's a lot of pride there from both the supporters, the players, the coach, Henrik Pedersen. I say coach, he's like head coach without any coaches. He's operating alone, and you look at the bench, there's hardly a senior player on it, and yet they're playing their socks off, the guys in the team. Fantastic effort. And actually, it just puts the way the club has been run and Dapon Chansiri to shame. It's a case of looking at it and saying, well, it's all right. You know, they've got a point at Wrexham. They're to the second round of the Carabao Cup. They could win 10 games in a row playing out their skins, and the club would not be right. It has to be sold. Mr. Chansiri has to sell it. The feeling around, he just doesn't want to sell it, would be my opinion at the moment. And despite the risk to himself, despite the damage that's being done to the club, none of this makes sense. So when we talk about owners, it's nice, albeit in very, very sad circumstances, to talk about an owner who was a shining example of what football needs. Phil Kirk, the club that I support, Chesterfield, thoughts first of all with his family and friends and to everybody at the club. Just a role model really of how a club's owner should operate. It's not just about the money, although Phil Kirk did sink in a real lot of cash, but mainly a local businessman with the interests of the club entirely at heart. Didn't interfere with decision-making, provided the support for Paul Cook, everything that you would want, preferred a low profile, everything you would want in an owner. And, you know, it's so sad that he no longer is with us, but other football clubs and other potential owners should fit him. I think that is the example to follow.
Alan, thanks so much for coming on. I know the line wasn't amazing, but we really wanted you to pay tribute to Phil Kirk. There's a lot of people who don't follow Chesterfield or lower league football would know anything about him, and he died at the age of 59, and he's done absolutely wonderful work at Chesterfield. So it was definitely worth persevering, even though the line wasn't great. So you could tell us about him and our thoughts with the family and friends of Phil Kirk as well, the owner of Chesterfield, co-owner who's died at the age of 59.
Every spring, sports fans in Europe come together to celebrate arguably rugby's biggest annual tournament, the Six Nations. But why is it the home nations, plus France and Italy, and no one else? It all started back in 1871 when Scotland beat England in the very first international rugby match. A few years later, when they could field a team, Wales decided they'd host England and an idea was thought up. With Ireland keen, they formed the Home International Championship, which ran from 1883. In 1910, France was allowed to join, as they were developing into a serious rugby nation, and thus the Five Nations was born. France had an interesting history with the championship. They were actually booted out for paying their players in 1931, when the home nations were keen to keep it amateur. After World War II, though, France were let back in, but it remained a closed shop for more than 50 years. And when another country was let in, it was only really because the Five Nations hand had been forced. Italy was developing into a serious contender, beating Scotland, France and Ireland twice in the same year, meaning in 1999 officials got together and said yes to Italy, and it became the Six Nations. So what changes, if any, come next? 7 nations? 8? A promotion and relegation system? Or should we leave it alone and let it remain the great rugby tradition it's become?
Story about tap water in Leicester. I don't know if you know this, but Jeff Peters, he doesn't drink tap water. He only drinks that £19 a bottle stuff from Portugal.
Does he?
Did you read that story a couple of weeks ago about a restaurant that's opened they've got a water sommelier.
Ah, nice.
And they basically...
You have a little sip of the water and go, yes, I'd take it.
That's right. All different types, but that's their most expensive one, £19 a bottle.
Mike says, breaking news, James Trafford is revealed as one of the 4 types of giraffe. Large male with crazy paving pattern, says Mike. It's blown my mind he's taller than Donald.
I know. We both looked it up. He is 6'5.5".
What an exciting life we lead, don't we? Ben Jacobs joins us to do some transfer stuff. Hey, Ben.
Afternoon, guys. How are you?
Yeah, really good. What's the most exciting transfer that is that's interesting you at the moment?
Well, I think Piero Hincapié is fascinating because although Spurs deny no bid, there was at least an approach in the month of August on the player side, but it's Arsenal that are moving. So I think it's very unfair to Tottenham to say this is Eberechieze 2.0, because one club is very clearly saying that they haven't placed a bid, nor are they engaged in club-to-club talks. But Arsenal are moving, and they are speaking to Leverkusen. It's contingent on outgoings, though. Jakub Kiwior, who is actually expected now to move to Porto on a loan with obligation, and Alexander Zinchenko may also have to depart. Hincapié wants the move to Arsenal, 60 million euros release clause, but Arsenal are hoping to do it a little bit cheaper than that. And the player's definitely going to push for a move this week. It's just a case of a few outgoings first, and then maybe by the middle of the week, I would expect Arsenal to make a bid.
They're going all bases covered, Arsenal, aren't they? You know, it's looking good for them from that point of view. I see this one, though. This is a strange one. Wolves have rejected a £50 million bid from Newcastle for Jørgen Strand Larsen, who does know where the goal is, but I wouldn't have said he was a £50 million player.
Excellent season, though, last campaign. And I think sometimes players need a season or two to really break onto the scene. So Newcastle feel like maybe the player at that price, 50 million rejected, could follow a similar trajectory to Alexander Isak and really get going in his second full season in the Premier League. And that's where the bid has come from. It's been rejected. My understanding is there's been no counter. It was turned away very quickly. There's no asking price from Wolves' perspective, and they really don't want to lose. And even if the player tries to force an exit to Newcastle United where he can play Champions League football, the expectation is that Wolves are going to stand firm. And that, of course, means that Newcastle could again be back to square one. If it's to be one striker coming in, I still think they might bid again for Johan Wissa. But if two come through the door, then that is encouragement as far as Liverpool are concerned. And I think if anything is going to move with Alexander Isak, it will of course be after tonight's game between the two sides.
What about pocket rocket Gianluigi Donnarumma to Manchester City? How do we see that panning out?
Well, again, it's one of these sagas that might come down to the final days or hours of the window, because Manchester City are not going to bid for Donnarumma unless Ederson goes to Galatasaray. So that domino has to fall first. Ederson is open to going to Turkey. A 10 million euros bid has been rejected. Galatasaray are preparing a fresh offer. So what could happen is Ederson goes and then Donnarumma comes in. But Pep Guardiola will be actually very content, I'm told, if Ederson just stays, and then Donnarumma might be left scrambling in the final days of the window for a new club. If that scenario happens, the other thing in all of this is that PSG are not asking for in Manchester City's eyes at least, reasonable fee for a player that's only got 1 year left on his contract, because PSG are, of course, saying he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He's still only 26 years of age. And if Ederson goes, you'll have a little bit of urgency. But whereas Mike Maignan, the asking price, which was still seen as high by Chelsea, was 25 million. And Emi Martinez, Aston Villa, 30, 35 million as a minimum. PSG are saying we want more than 40 million pounds. So it won't only be about Ederson leaving. The price will have to drop as well. But I do suspect if Ederson goes, that Manchester City will pay a little bit more than they're indicating at the moment, and PSG might meet them halfway.
They are funny, these clubs. We don't want you, but you're worth 40 million. So how does it work? I've seen that Axel Disasi, after a brilliant career at Chelsea, could be on his way to Bournemouth.
Yes, some are reporting advanced talks. That maybe is a little bit strong at this stage, but he's certainly an option as far as Bournemouth are concerned. And Bournemouth and Chelsea have got a very good relationship. And I think it's classic tactic at this stage of the window that the market is seeing the likes of Nico Jackson, Christopher Nkunku, Axel Disasi, also Raheem Sterling too, another one, and realising that if they just wait a few more days, they might get the kind of deal that they're looking for, because, of course, the prospective buyer gains a bit of ascendancy late in the market when they know that a club like Chelsea are still looking for several outgoings. So I think Bournemouth are biding their time. Nothing is necessarily close at this point. It's not because there isn't a willingness for Disasi to join or Bournemouth to get the deal done. So there is a very strong chance that this deal happens, but Bournemouth are just delaying a little bit and offering Chelsea, according to my information, more than one structure. So a permanent exit at a lower price, maybe a loan with a buy option as well, and just testing the water. And I think in the next few days, this one will pick up, and there remains a realistic chance that Disasi stays in the Premier League and does end up joining Bournemouth.
Now Spurs are good. Will they get Savinho and El Khanous?
I think it's still up in the air, to be perfectly honest with you. Manchester City's stance haven't changed. Savinho's being blocked at board level. Tottenham are prepared to try again to the tune of in excess of £60 million or above €70 million, whatever currency you want to follow. Believe it or not, Premier League clubs very often do Euros transactions, even when it's an English deal. And what we're sort of seeing here is Manchester City say to Tottenham, unless you're going to go to about £70 million, there's probably not a conversation to be had. And even if they do go that high, it still might continue to be blocked at board level. And it's looking increasingly likely as well that Rodrigo might stay at Real Madrid, which means Manchester City also might not have a ready-made replacement on that left-hand side. So that one is difficult, but not impossible. Tottenham haven't given up. Bilal Al-Khalous might be a possibility. We know that Crystal Palace have looked at him as well. Nico Paz is another player that Tottenham like, but Como think that the player is going to stay for at least another year. So it's been a pretty frustrating end of window, actually, since they lost out on Gibbs White and onwards, and then Eze, and then now. But I think from Tottenham's point of view, they want to get in one defender, and if they can, two attackers, a number 10 and a left winger between now and the end of the window, so they're going to be busy.
You mentioned Jackson and Nkuko. Villa are very interested, but I don't think Chelsea will be blackmailed into sort of low-balling, these prices, because if they have to stay, all right, they won't get Simons and Garnacho, but it wouldn't be the end of the world, I don't think, for the manager.
Well, as long as they're okay with their so-called A-list squad for Champions League purposes, so part of the Chelsea settlement with UEFA requires them to have a net positive balance for A-list players. And if they can't, then as they head into the Champions League, they'll only be able to register players that were A-list in their UEFA Conference League squad last season. And the feeling is that Chelsea are fine with PSR, but to satisfy UEFA, they need an outgoing or two. You have two separate points here. One is one outgoing might be enough. Chelsea may even argue they're okay now for UEFA purposes, but obviously factored into that balance will be if they then add Garnacho and Xavi Simons, which is more money spent. So then they'll also have to think about probably more than one outgoing. And this is where it gets a little bit complicated. So my understanding with Nico Jackson is you've got Aston Villa, but their preference is to do a loan with a buy option or a conditional obligation. In other words, it starts as an option and then only under certain circumstances you obligated to buy. You've got Newcastle, possibly Milan, Bayern, and if, and it's a big if, Rasmus Højlund doesn't go to Napoli, maybe Napoli as well, but at the moment their focus is on Rasmus Højlund. Chelsea value Jackson at 80 million. Suitors want it a little bit cheaper. Let's again see if there's some middle ground in the final days of the window. But my expectation is Jackson will go and Nkunku will go. Garnacho will definitely come in, and then talks are ongoing still for Xavi Simons as well.
Finally, a couple of England centre midfielders, Kobbie Mainoo and Conor Gallagher. Where could they end up?
Kobbie Mainoo, an exclusive broken by chief football correspondent Alex Crook. He's exploring his options in the final days of the window. I think there's a few games going on here. So Kobbie Mainoo may play in the EFL Cup for Manchester United, but hasn't had that many minutes under Manchester United. So now we have to see if anyone tries their luck. And it might be important for Kobbie Mainoo to get minutes, especially in a World Cup year. But if he stays, I think Manchester United and the player would also be very comfortable with that. And having a few late window options gives you leverage for when the window shuts, as you then maybe engage for these long-awaited new contract talks. So I think that's an open situation, but we don't know of any concrete suitors yet. Chelsea have looked in the past, but their midfield is stocked, so I don't see that one necessarily developing as it stands. And then with Conor Gallagher, I also think he'll stay at Atletico Madrid. Crystal Palace are the club that would like to bring him back there. They made an approach for a loan, and neither the player nor Atletico Madrid had any kind of agreement, and I think Palace have backed.
An exciting day. You on Dead
Night? Is it this time next week?
I think it is. Yeah, okay, well, I'll be glued to my radio. This is Rushden and Jacobs on talkSPORT in partnership with Toolstation, the Summer Shop. Toolstation, award-winning Hawksbee lawnmower range in store, on app and online. Next stop, Toolstation. We'll speak to a Dutch author who's written a book about Arne Slot. He's done a Liverpool bit as well because he was quite good last year, wasn't he? We'll chat about that and the Newcastle game with him in just a second. If you want hospitality for 6 of you, £5,000, and to go to Wembley to watch the LA Rams versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, here's how.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission or enter for free by calling 0330 880 338. All entries must be received by 25th August at 11 p.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. See talksport.com for terms and conditions.
All right, let's do a bit of Liverpool and a bit of Arne Slot, but I believe I probably could call him the oracle on Arne Slot. Mikos Gauka, a Dutch journalist and author who's written books about Arne Slot, and he joins us now. He's got a new one out called Arne Slot, The New Era. Welcome, Mikos.
Hello, hello.
Thanks so much for coming on. You must have been delighted when he went to Liverpool and then went on and won the league. This is great for you.
Yeah, of course. The timing was perfect for writing a book. And when we wrote the book, we didn't know how he would survive in England, but he did very well. So the timing was perfect.
Yeah. Were you surprised how well he did?
No, not at all, because we've seen what he did in Holland. And sometimes we call him a little bit like a wizard. But of course, in the Premier League, there are lots of very good teams. So it would not be as easy to become champion in this competition. So we knew he would do very good, but yeah, the title and so playing so good football was also a little bit surprising for us.
Would you say Arne Slot is slightly different to other Dutch managers that we've had in the Premier League, in as much as Ten Hag and Van Gaal can be quite chippy with the press, quite, short-tempered, whereas Arne Slot seems to handle the press and the media really, really well.
Yeah, he's a very smart guy, and the way Erik ten Hag did in England, it was of course not how he should do. It was he made arguments with reporters, and his English was not so good. But Slot has the full package, and so he's tactically very good. He's good with players, but he also is very good in holding press conferences and that kind of stuff. So we think he has held it all. But then of course you should be also very good with very known, very good players, with stars, which he didn't have in the Dutch league, but he did it there as well.
Yeah, I mean that is really interesting, isn't it? Part of the difficulty when you see managers step up is how they manage big egos and super famous people, and he seems to have done that seamlessly.
Yeah. When we talked to him after the season, and we asked him, how would you handle Mo Salah, for instance, compare him with Brian Linse at Feyenoord or Jens Toornstra at Feyenoord, which our names were not well known in England and are average players in Holland. And then he said, I do quite the same. I tell him what he's doing very good. I tell him again what he's doing very good, and then I tell him what he's probably going to do a lot better when he changes a little things in his playing style. And he did that with Salah, he said, and he said, it worked the same out as I did with unknown players in the Dutch league.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting, but that's how you should be, really.
Well, that is how you should be, but that isn't always how you have to be, I guess.
No, and of course we know the stories from other Dutch managers who said we worked at Real Madrid or we worked at Chelsea, and then it's difficult to compare the players with the level in the Dutch league. But he said it's all the same. I worked the same way as I did at the PEC Zwolle Youth Academy. I worked the same way at Cambuur in the first division. I worked the same way at AZ, which is the number 5-6 club in the Dutch league. And then Feyenoord, if you see me training, if you see me handling players or talking with players, it's the same as I did everywhere.
Obviously, I presume it's easier to get access to, someone who's managing Feyenoord than Liverpool. Obviously, you have that relationship with him, but has it been hard? Now he's at Liverpool. Does he answer your messages as quickly as he used to?
Yeah, he answers it quickly, but he has one rule. He never talks about transfers and that kind of stuff. So when he became the new trainer of Feyenoord, I asked him, he said, I don't talk about that, but if you have some tactical questions or you're just interested in the way of playing, he always answers, but not by giving news. And he's very fond on that he has a name of not leaking things to the press, because he said a lot of coaches or a lot of managers are well known by the public because they leak something to the press, and then when they have difficulties in getting results, sometimes they get spared by the press because they get something from him, and he said, I never do that, and when they write a positive about me, it's about how we play, how we do it, and that's because you need something from me.
I mean, all clubs are special, but Liverpool are a special club. And did he have to sort of immerse himself in the history of the team, because that's a very big part of Liverpool, isn't it?
Yeah, I asked him when he went to Liverpool. I said, who Ian Rush is, Kenny Douglas, of course, and Gallagher and Carragher and all the famous names from the past, but he knew everything. I said to him, okay, then I test you. Ian Rush played for an Italian team as well. Which team? And he immediately said that it was Juventus. So I think the stars of the past of Liverpool were players when he was a young guy, when he was following the Premier League, of course. So he knew a lot, but I think he also picked up the books and searched some things on Google, so he could not be surprised by questions when he was there.
And knowing him as you do you think he wants to, be at Liverpool for, to have a sort of a Klopp-length era there? I mean, it's not a bad place to be a successful manager.
Yeah, the problem is, of course, when you are a manager at Feyenoord, there are several clubs to get higher, not in the Dutch league, but you can go to the Premier League or to Italian league or Spanish league. But when you are at Liverpool, there are just a few steps left for you to get and. Well, I know he's very fond of the sunshine. He goes to Ibiza when he has a few days off. His daughter always said, "You take a job in Spain so we can be in the sun." So, but there's only I think 2-3 teams in that league that can afford these managers who are at Liverpool. So the only thing is when he fails at Liverpool, then he has a lot of more opportunities. And now I think he only has maybe Paris Saint-Germain, maybe Real Madrid, maybe Barcelona, that kind of clubs. But in England, I think, well, it would be Liverpool and nothing at all.
Sure. Hey, listen, thanks so much for coming on, Mikos. Good luck with the book, and we appreciate your time.
Okay.
Thanks. You. Mikos Gauke there. Arne Slot.
Cambridge job then.
Unlikely to get it, but Neil Harris doing a pretty good job. Disappointing defeat at Bristol Rovers at the weekend. But in Neil Harris we trust. Yeah, Arne Slot and The New Era by Mikos Gauke, if you would like to go and get that and read it. Thanks, Andy. I had a lovely time.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks, Max, for filling in.
No, it's my pleasure.
Before and
no, that's okay. If I'm around, I'm happy to pop in. It gets me away. Gets me out of the house, doesn't it? Andy Goldstein, Darren Benter next with Drive.